Thank you for listening to Gettin Hard in Nate's Backyard. On this episode of Gettin Hard in Nate's Backyard, we talk to the brothers Bourgeau, Jordan and Nate of Illuminated Minerva. We have a pretty solid first hour, talking about the band, talking about progressive music. This has been the longest podcast so far because we got really crazy in the second and third hours. We just get nuts, and I decided that we're just going to put it up, and if you want to listen to crazy stuff for 3 hours, you can. You're welcome to. We'd like you to listen to it. So again, thanks for listening to Get Hard in Nate's Backyard, and enjoy. Here we go. Hello.
Woo!
Thanks for getting hard in Nate's Backyard, everybody.
Oh, yeah.
Tonight I got my buddy Jordan here.
Yes, sir.
And Nate.
What's up?
Of Illuminated Minerva.
Nate's. It's going to get confusing on the radio.
Oh, yeah. Get hard Nate to the power of 2.
Yeah, Nate squared, bro.
Nate squared. Backyard?
Night.
Not T?
Nye. Just Nye? I don't know.
Nate's.
Nate's. It already is. It already
Without
is
the apostrophe.
It already is Nate's, though. Like, how do you get more Nate's?
That's 2.
More Nate's or...
Nate. We'll have to get our English major on the line. This podcast is brought to you by... and Nancy's here, too. Say hi, Nancy.
Hi, Nate's.
Yeah.
Hi, Jordan.
Hey.
Sorry, Nancy. Such a jerk to Nancy. Yeah. Brutal. So this podcast is brought to you by righthookmics.com. Go to righthookmics.com and buy a fucking mic. Our guests are using them. They sound glorious as usual.
You're not using it, though?
No, I haven't. I've always just wanted
just have a voice of an angel anyway?
Yeah, I bought this SM7 because I always rent one in the studio. So
right.
And they're designed for this. So.
And you don't have to sound as good as us anyway.
Well, it's funny. I think those fucking mics sound better than this $500 SM7.
Damn.
That's handmade quality, bro.
And they look baller, too.
Yeah,
they're like rockabilly style looking ones.
Yeah, totally. A PE55 style. The one we have is called the metal mic. They have a bunch of... They have the 3PO, which is all gold, and the drill sergeant, which is green.
3PO, like C-3PO.
Yeah. And what was the white one called? The Stormtrooper. Which is white on...
They're not getting sued hard for that? They can get away with those names?
Big James is too big to be sued.
Yeah.
Even if it is by Lucas.
Yeah. It would be Disney.
Or Disney.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, fuck.
They don't like that shit. I heard tattoo artists getting sued for doing Mickey Mouse tattoos and shit.
Oh,
you can't
fuck.
You can't fuck with Disney. I heard that. I heard that. Harley Davidson's supposed to be really bad
Well, it's like that
too.
at Comic-Cons, though. You know, Comic-Con guys are getting in trouble from Marvel and stuff like that for, like, selling pictures of drawing Spider-Man or something like that. You know what I mean?
Right.
And, and they actually drew it for them. They got paid.
But what the fuck are you supposed to do? Like, call up Disney and be like, where's your royalties, guy?
It's so partially the fans as well. Like,
and
it's only famous because...
When you think about, like, a tattoo artist, too, he's getting paid for his work. Like, what percentage of his money should Disney even fucking own anyway?
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
You can't buy the world, Disney. Fuck off.
They're trying,
This podcast is not brought to you by Disney.
I am.
And it's also not brought to you by fucking iTunes. Get your shit together and let me post this goddamn podcast. I think because...
Well, now they won't.
No, I think it's because I read a line in the FAQ for podcast makers that, like, a reason it could get rejected, because the podcast is under review through iTunes right now. And one of the reasons it could get rejected is if in the title... It has profanity, and this is the weird one. They say self-censorship.
Weird.
Or like alluding to drugs or hate crimes.
Or sounding like this could be like a gay porno.
Yeah, like it's just a bunch
If you ever do want to change to like a gay webcam, you don't have to change your name. It's the same name works.
I wonder why. They would think that. Especially after the last podcast. Holy fuck, I'm pretty glad I didn't put the end of it up. It was getting pretty hard in this backyard. No, but they don't understand the meaning of getting hard like we talk about.
Yeah.
Getting Hard's just all about being hard as fuck.
Yeah,
which is
exactly.
Totally
It's
different.
not an erection.
I also
it really has nothing to do with erections.
because I didn't get that either, and I popped like 4 Viagra's before coming here. I wasn't taking any chances. You took one too inadvertently, Nate. I put one in there.
Excellent.
That's gotta suck.
Oh yeah, 4 of them. Seems gonna split like a hot dog in a microwave.
So go to righthookmics.com and get yourself a goddamn microphone. I don't know why they signed on to be our first sponsor, but they did. After this kind of treatment. We love you, Big James. My buddy Big James makes them. And this podcast is brought to you by BigNateProductions.com. And I'm going to rattle off some upcoming events we got going on here. This Friday, March 6th, the Vakken Metal Battle Calgary Final with... Oh, hold on, I got it. Hellborn Death Engines, Death God, Shark-Infested Daughters, and After Earth. That should be pretty interesting. The winner of that, two will advance to Edmonton, and then those 4 bands battle, and then one will go to Toronto.
Sweet.
Yeah, it's awesome. I do the Vakken battle, I just want to tell everybody, because I think, like, I've been losing money on it.
Right.
Like, it's not like... I just think that I would do it better than anyone else. Like, if somebody else got their hands on it. That's all. Like, I'm not trying... It's not like... I mean, obviously, you got to make a buck, but...
Well, it was
It's
sweet,
not competition about fucking art is stupid, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's just a dumb fucking thing to begin with, so...
Yeah.
But, with that being said, Jeff Waters will be a special... From Annihilator will be a special guest judge, so...
That's pretty sweet.
Sweet.
It's $10. Come down and see the 4 best bands in Calgary, apparently, as according to some judges. They all...
Well, we didn't enter, so...
That's right, that's right.
Why.
That's right,
Just
yeah.
kidding.
You guys would be in Toronto right now.
Yeah. You mean Vakken.
Oh, yeah. We just... See, we're in Vakken, we won.
Right?
We're just here now. See? There's like nobody there, it's just an empty field.
Yeah.
So then, after that is... March 20th is our buddy Big James is coming through with his band X's for Eyes, who just did the Platinum Project. It's still ongoing. They're selling their whole record for $1. You can go there.
Oh, right. I saw that, yeah.
Yeah, you can go to xsforyes.com and buy their fucking album for $1. Like, I think it's pretty awesome.
That is pretty awesome.
They sold a fuck ton.
Really?
Yeah. Well, I think they said publicly over 15,000.
That's sweet, especially for Canada.
15,000 copies of your record?
Yeah.
I mean,
What do we print?
Too bad they didn't charge
We printed
$5
like what,
'cause then-
$250, and I don't think we're out.
Yeah.
So no,
Yeah.
500. I think we did. That's pretty good, guys. Come on.
Yeah. What's hilarious about all that is the powers of be don't recognize an album sale unless it's for at least $3.49.
We had
With the Nielsen SoundScan commercial, like fuck
Yeah.
off.
Made in Canada in the bottom and all.
Well,
that.
that I understand that.
We had
that you're showing that that little. It's whenever you see that circle with MAPL.
Yeah.
It's like manufactured and artists and production, and I can't remember what the L stands, but it just tells people that it's all made in Canada, which is
right.
Okay to me.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah,
Down with that.
but yeah. Anyways, record industry. It's a fuck over industry. We'll get into it here after commercials. Next show. So that's with March 20th at Dickens. With X's for Eyes, Doberman, Triton, and His Last Words. Sweet. Come get your shit together and get the fuck on with that. And then April 3rd is the Calgary Metalfest and Nancy's birthday party. Calgary Metalfest fundraiser show. April 3rd at Dickens. I tend to do shows at Dickens because they let me, and it's awesome.
Yeah, Dickens is awesome.
Yeah.
I'm the sound guy there, and I can control stuff. So, this show, it's the sound stuff, nothing else. Maybe fire, kind of. This show features Every Hour Kills, The Press Gang, Black Pestilence, Oh Shit, and Bloated Pig. And this night we're doing the Wheel of Death, metal. So we're gonna spin the wheel, figure out the first band. Spin the wheel for the second band.
I hate you for that.
Yeah, I know. People fucking hate
that.
But go, get your fucking drink
Yeah.
on, man. The bar loves it.
Yeah, no, I like it as a concept, but for me, it would never work. But
I've only done it one other time, but
that was at Lord Nelson's, right? Was that for?
no. Oh yeah, we did one at Lord Nelson's, and we
Because
did
I was
one
at a Lord
Dickens.
Nelson's one time.
Yeah, there was.
First one at Dickens and then
Yeah. I think we did it for Boyko's birthday or something. Lord Nelson's. So yeah, that's April 3rd. Go to that. It'll be fun. Show up early. Don't be a jerk. And then
Stay late too.
Stay
Last
late,
Man,
yeah,
Last
yeah.
man always suffers.
just have
Good Friday.
pull a Taffer tip and have a drink
Yeah,
in between.
man, Taffer,
you
no
know,
way.
water. We want to have a good night.
Yeah.
Enjoy our alcohol
Binge
responsibly.
responsibly,
Yeah. Go easy on the weed. Just take it easy. So then, this. Speaking of Calgary Metalfest, this podcast is also brought to you by Calgary Metalfest. We just announced everything. CalgaryMetalfest.com is not up yet. We're migrating it, but you can go all over social media if you're on Twitter or fucking whatever.
Who needs websites anyway, man?
Yeah,
I have.
Mine's just like a hub.
It's
like
just like
a
it looks good
links
to own the
page.
.com kind of, but
Yeah.
other than that, I don't. I just use Facebook for everything.
I didn't really need one until I started this podcast because you have to have like a backbone that you can upload all this shit to. So
right.
then I was like, fuck it, let's get this going.
Right.
I have a really good art guy, Solomon Media. Go there, solomonmedia.com. He's the best. But the official launch party is Wednesday, June 3rd at the Ship and Anchor, featuring the Electric Revival, Bloated Pig, Lucid Scream, The Outer, and Woodhawk. It's gonna fucking rule. It's free. And then Thursday the 4th is at Vern's. It's a rad bill. And then Friday and Saturday are at both Lord Nelson's and Headline Stage at Dickens Pub.
Sweet.
So
jog across the parking lot and check them both out.
Yeah, fucking
Get some
right.
exercise in.
Yeah, maybe, you have some water, go for a walk,
Yeah.
see your favorite
You're all
band.
about sobriety today. That's not very. You're not getting very hard. Nate.
No, it's about
It's
responsible.
supposed to be like chugging Mickeys in the parking lot, throwing up and getting high with the bums outside of the liquor store.
Oh man, there's one. He's hilarious.
Is that your grandpa guy?
Yeah. Were you there that night?
No, I heard you. I heard your
yeah.
other podcast.
Yeah.
Saying
He always comes right at me too. Hilarious. So yeah, that's it. Without any further ado, I'd like to welcome Jordan and Nate Bourgeot of that's how you say it, right?
Yeah, right
well,
on.
the
Thanks.
brothers Bourgeot, but yeah, you nailed the pronouncing it.
No, it's just usually Borgalt.
Yeah, Bourgeot.
No one has any class.
At my
anymore.
old job, they used to put the L before the U. There's a lot of silent French letters in there, but
Right.
so my check said Borgaloot. I was like, nice. Bank never
Borgaloot.
questioned it. They didn't care.
Well, they just they only need the first 4 letters. That's
Yeah.
all. The rest are silent anyways.
Yeah.
Or just mushed together in a sound.
Yeah.
Je.
Weird French letters. I don't know about it.
I think one of the reasons I'm so fucked is because when I was 5, I went into wrestling, and we went and we had this turn. This is when I lived in Oregon, and they took me on this tournament when I was like 5, and I was super attached to my mom, so I was like freaking out the whole
Right.
time just because it was so far away.
And you were wearing
It
that
was the first
onesie
time.
too, which is
Yeah,
traumatizing.
well, fuck. and it
you
was
were probably still like 6'4" then too. Right?
well, I was so freaked out. And when I went for my match, I was like shaking, and this guy kicked my ass, and like I was just like, "Get it over with!" And then I just freaked out more. But part of the reason I freaked out is because when they announced my name, they said Nathan Renewed, and like over the speaker to the whole fucking place,
Right.
Like 500 people, and you can hear them all laugh.
Yeah.
Just crushed my skull right there. I was just,
Totally.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm okay now though.
Yeah. That you used to
Except for
wrestle.
the
Yeah, I
heavy
used to love
drinking and
wrestling. It was
smoking.
sweet. Hugging guys violently.
Yeah.
Oh, you're into wrestling?
Yeah, I liked it a lot. It was awesome.
Oh, you liked it?
Yeah, I only did it in like junior high and high school. But,
Oh, okay, like competition wrestling.
Yeah,
Not
yeah.
WWF.
well, that I kind of liked for like the WWE girls before they were. You know, remember when they were just like
Well, back when there
managers?
was like Jake the Snake and shit, like it was cool then.
Oh
all
man,
about
that was the golden era.
Ahmed Johnson.
Yeah, I think that it's exactly the same now, but now we have like UFC, so we know what not fake shit looks like. So it's way better.
I'm
Yeah.
actually amazed that wrestling is still a thing. That
Yeah.
even though UFC is still around,
Totally.
like people are still like get him, but you know that they're pretend getting the bro. You know,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah,
it's like
definitely.
a pre-scripted deal. But
Yeah,
it's just male soap opera business.
They were just here during the Super Bowl, the same day as the Super Bowl.
Oh, really?
Did you? Oh, you didn't go to that, did you?
What? No?
No.
A wrestling thing?
Yeah, no.
No. But no, I didn't.
Bunch of people did.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't me.
Okay.
I
Neat.
didn't see you there.
So you guys are brothers.
Yeah.
And you play in a band together, which is fucking crazy and awesome.
Thanks.
Have you guys been playing like your whole damn lives? Like, did your parents like as soon as you started walking just give you an instrument? And have you been playing like? And have you guys also been playing like Jordan plays drums and Nate plays guitar? Has it always been that way, or?
Well, I started with guitar. Like I guess going back to the first part of the question, you started earlier. You were playing before.
Yeah,
I
I started playing guitar, and like, and it goes back to like our mom and dad. Like, it's always dad playing guitar all the time, and it's like Yes tunes. Like growing up, Jordan and I listened, and our sister Jenny, we listened to like a lot of Yes, a lot of like crazy music, you know.
Yeah.
And mom singing Celine Dion and Janet Jackson, and it was crazy.
Yeah, and our dad's like he was at that time like a classical guitar player, so
Yeah.
he still like he plays in a rockabilly band now.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
But he still plays like with his fingers.
Like
doesn't
flamenco shit?
Well, it
Well,
was
it
like
went more with
classical,
that,
right? Like
classical,
classical,
Yeah.
that style. So we grew up with music around us all the time.
Okay.
And I mean, maybe toying as little kids, but nothing
Yeah,
serious.
nothing
till,
serious.
Till
And our
like junior.
grandparents too, like Grandpa Jerry, always playing the piano, like,
and
I remember-
banjos all over as well.
Yeah, music all over the place.
Fuck yeah. Cool.
But then I kind of started playing because my first friend ever, Dale Bowden, we were friends when we were little. Like our moms were pregnant together with us, and then we hung out. And then he went to a different school, I went to a different school. And then in high school we met together, and he was playing guitar, and I was like, man, I want to play guitar. And so a couple of my other buddies started playing it, and we all started our first band. It was called Floozy or whatever.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it was all right. I mean, for us being young, and Bodes was awesome. Like he was like doing like Jimi Hendrix songs and stuff, and it was
He could sing too.
yeah, and he could
Awesome.
sing. He was awesome. And
He's still alive, by the way.
yeah, it's not like we're talking about him tragically here.
It's pretty past tense. We are talking about
Yeah.
our youth.
And then so that kind of and I mean, when I started playing guitar, Dad tried to get me playing guitar, but he was like, do it, sit on a thing and do it all proper. And I was like, I want to play Nirvana songs, leave me alone, you know. And then that kind of fizzled out because Bodes went to school, and then I had another band with a couple of my other buddies called Baked Bads, which was from the Tick.
Yeah.
And
Baked Bads.
yeah, Tick was pretty awesome back in the day.
Yeah.
And we were kind of like I don't know, like a punk metal band. It was just weird. And then
But then Al Brown singing.
yeah, and Al Brown.
And you.
Yeah.
And Al sang like an angel.
Yeah, Al was awesome.
You
He
sang
was-
pretty okay.
Al was all right, but Al Brown was like, you could sing and scream and play bass at the same time. It was
Yeah,
like amazing.
he was rad.
And the girls were always just like, Al.
Oh, he's beautiful too.
Yeah, don't tell him that because he will not be pleased. But anyways,
I said it already.
and then that kind of ended, and then one day Jordan was playing with Tyler.
Yeah, so I guess we'll do mine. I did start on guitar, but like I
Oh, wow.
never really. I mean, I think we had like a goofy band with like a couple of my friends early on, and I was like super into Weezer. I was probably like a Weezer ripoff band. I think
wow.
we called ourselves Jonas or something or Jones, like Jones Soda or something like that. I remember it was stupid. But it wasn't even really ever a thing. You know what I mean? Just like a couple buddies, and we played.
That's
And-
good to hear that all you fucking guys are into grunge.
Yeah,
Yeah, man.
well, that was
Because I
See,
never wanted to say it when I moved here because I thought everybody would fucking.
I even think like the
Crucify
road.
me.
Everyone listened to metal like from like they're I listened to Slayer when I was 6, and I'm like really not me because I listen to like yeah I guess like well that's all copying him like where all my friends are like the little brothers of all his friends right we're like
Right,
3
right.
years younger so that whole
Yeah.
generation is just following what they were doing right so.
What's the age difference between you guys?
Yeah, 3 years.
3 years,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, that's okay. And then, so we started doing that, but that lasted no time. And I bought a drum kit just to have around, and then I started playing it more, and then that switched. So yeah, later then I got in a band with my buddy Tyler, and we were called The Setup.
Yeah.
And then that switched, and we were called Malachi. And then
I kind of remember that name. What year was that?
Oh, I don't think it would have been relevant because I don't even know if we ever even played shows. And it was a long time ago. I think I was real young. I wasn't even 18, I don't think.
Okay.
And then,
Never played Verns?
no. No, Verns
the
wouldn't.
Mermaid, though.
It probably would have been like TA Verns. Yeah, that's right. In the set,
Yeah, right.
we played the Mermaid, which is what, Flame Central? Or no, we played the Unicorn or
You played
the Palace,
which
yeah.
is now Flame Central.
Which is now Flame Central, that's right. That was for
So
like
was the
high school
setup?
battle
What kind of
bands.
band was the setup?
Tyler listened to a lot of like At the Drive-In.
Okay.
It was really at the. This was before Mars Volta was even around. It was really like
Yeah.
that At the Drive-In, kind of like faster, a little bit punky, and kind of angry, not screaming, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But then
Emo.
anyway, what's that?
Emo.
Yeah, see, and this is
Primo.
yeah,
Primo.
primo.
Primo emo. Primo screamo.
And then Nate and I were at one time joined. So basically, Malachi ended, and you were no longer in the Baked Bads for a while.
No,
I think,
because
right?
Al had gone to like Europe or whatever, and so
Right.
we weren't doing anything.
And then so I had a like party house where we jammed, and that band jammed, and Nate and I started just jamming some of like his riffs, and then we picked up Tyler from the band that I was in, and it was
Right.
sort of like our other guys that we had in the band weren't doing it anymore. So then we sort of just started that, and that was Sequoia.
Yeah, it's cool. And we did like a 3-song EP or whatever.
We recorded it. Did we even really release it? I think we burnt the discs ourselves and that
Yeah.
kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
And we played one show ever, I think.
At the Underground?
At the Underground, a New Year's Eve show. That was it for that band. And then it broke up, tragically. We don't get into that. And then...
no one died.
In a
no one died.
fireball.
No,
Okay,
it was not
everybody
even
made it out
that.
of the fire.
Tragic is not really the right word. Yeah, drama is the right word. So... then I was in Verbal D at that time. I joined Verbal D. So
You were a founding member of Verbal D, no?
not actually accurate. No, they had a drummer before, and he had done a few. They had done a few shows, and then when they were recording is kind of when I came in. They already had their first EP. With Johnny
Verbal Deception, for people that don't know, pirate metal. Look it up.
It's awesome.
Right.
It's very awesome.
So then anyway,
The first pirate metal too, by the way.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's right.
yeah.
No, like it's a thing now, but it wasn't when.
Yeah,
you
I know. I've been
doing it.
trying to book you guys on Metalfest every year, and you won't play it.
Yeah, well, don't talk to me about that.
No, I'm sure. I know. It's complicated.
It's complicated. We'll just leave it like that. It's like one of those relationships where you're not really seeing each other anymore, but there's still the thought is still there. You still
jerk off to
you
the
still
thought of
love
each
each other. So it's like, is it over? And you're like, well.
You're still in the spank bank.
So then Nate and I took a song from that and maybe a couple of riffs from Sequoia, and then took that over to Illuminated Minerva, and then got.
What year was that when you started Illuminated?
Jeez, man.
I think it was like, when we were actually a whole band, when it was me, Matt, Kerry, and Jordan, that was like in 2008. We
Okay.
started writing stuff. But me and Jordan were kind of just writing stuff, and then Jordan introduced us to the amazing Matt Petty.
Yeah, I stole him from Verbal D.
Yeah. And then we started really having some tunes, and then at that time we're hanging out with Kerry Nord, and
Who is this person?
well,
What were
Kerry
they
Nord
doing?
is he's like a professional comic book artist, and
Oh wow!
Yeah,
he did Conan,
he's big famous.
he did Conan, and that's really where it was famous for, and he was like the most famous comic book artist at the time. Like we would be hanging out, and his lineup would be just like hundreds of people, and no one would have anyone.
Did I
else.
miss something? He was in the band.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was our old guitar player.
Yeah.
before we
Holy
got Pat.
shit! I had no idea.
Yeah.
So
Kerry Nord.
there's like Comic-Con at every one of your shows. Everybody's lined up to get this guy's signature. Is that what you're just saying?
Well,
not
for
at
the
shows.
No.
But there was
Okay.
every once in a
Oh,
while.
I see what you
people-
mean. I
Like
see what
people
you
just that know who he is, like lose
Yeah.
their shit. Like when
Yeah.
they find out that that's who he is.
Yeah.
You wouldn't know if you weren't into comic books.
Right.
So yeah, he was in the
Cool.
band for the first, I don't know,
Long time, probably 3 years, a long time.
and then we were just finally doing the EP recording, and he sort of quit during that time. He had to focus on his life and comic book stuff. He moved to Ontario, so it was the better call for him for sure.
Oh,
man.
totally,
Like
yeah.
he needed it, and it was like it sucked at the time because we were in the studio, so the EP sort of sat there unfinished for a long time.
Yeah, like
and then we were in struggles for, are we going to be a 3-piece now? Because we switched. We did a few shows as a 3-piece. You were really pushed for wanting a guitar player.
Yeah, like I'm not like a very good lead guitar player or whatever. So, and I like that aspect of it. Like I don't like it going on all the time, but I like having ripping solos so people can relate to that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then, Mr. Pat Lottie came along with his beautiful hair, and he was like, "What solos?" Blah, 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 blah. And he's like, "Your songs." Blah, blah, blah. And,
And we finally got some tattoos in this band.
Yeah, some
That's really what it was.
yeah.
Yeah.
Pat Lottie's hard as fuck.
Yeah.
He plays a Steinberger.
Yeah.
Headless fucking guitar.
Yeah.
Pretty nuts.
And this guy right here just ordered a new guitar.
I ordered a Strandberg headless guitar, too.
That one kind of has fan frets.
Which I thought, man, let me tell you, I always thought that I would never be into it. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, no, man, set scale all the way. But you play it, it just changed. Like, Sasha's got, when we were recording with Sasha there, he's got 2 of them, right? He's got 2 8-string ones. And,
just lying around.
yeah, no big deal.
Yeah.
And I was playing it, and I was like, man, it's so comfy. It's like, I don't know, it's like learning your instrument all of a sudden. It's like I never knew that it would be this sweet, kind of. So it is a little bit weird at first when you're looking at it, because when you look at a set scale one, it's sort of fanned, but when you look at a fan fret one, it's like whoosh, it's totally super fan.
I played at Dingwall during Kilyakai, and they have full bore fan frets, and I found at the lower register I had to really reach, and then up high I had to unreach. I had to go smaller. It was like, I gotta sneak it in there, but because it does, like on the Dingwall anyways, right at I remember it being the 7th fret is where it was straight, and then it started to fan again. But so when you'd get up, towards the 12th fret and shit, it was like you could get in closer, which was awesome. It was totally, I had to learn again.
Yeah, and the one that I have is not a very crazy scale. Like, it only has a 0.5 centimeter fan to it total.
Yeah,
so it's not like some of the fan frets you see, which are like 30-inch to like whatever.
Yeah, this was 36 1/4.
Yeah. So it's crazy. A crazy
string.
fan.
It's a lot of.
But it's interesting. I kind of like it because it kind of gives me a new. I don't have it yet, but it was giving me like a new sort of inspiration to play guitar.
Oh, new gear will do that,
right?
man.
New gear is
Jeez.
so sweet.
I need some of that.
Speaking of, like
Not more, Nate. Not more. Just new.
Yeah.
Settle down.
Nah, man. That's good.
They need to turn you into a pedal somehow.
Yeah.
Jordan has a giant spider drum kit. That's
Yeah.
what I call it.
Yeah.
You should work animatronics in it so they could just walk onto stage, make it into a giant
well, that's
spider.
the worst part
It's like,
anyway.
ring, ring,
Put it on there.
Yeah, that's the worst
It
part.
takes
right?
5 of us to carry it up there. And it's always just like, it's such a spectacle. I kind of hate that part. Everyone's just like, who's this asshole?
Yeah. But then they're like, damn, he just schooled me so hard.
Well, maybe.
Yeah, no, your guys is. Oh, one thing I wanted to say was for people that obviously don't know because your likes are so low, and I think that's bullshit. Get the Big Nate bump here, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We're almost at 800.
Check out our band.
If you get over 800, that's because of me.
Nice.
Oh.
I'll take it.
If you get a dozen hits, that's because of me.
Sweet.
But Illuminated Minerva is an instrumental band.
Yeah.
Did you guys always decide to fuck singers over?
I think they did that to themselves.
Oh, fair enough.
but,
Yeah, well, isn't that weird?
Well, no, like we just started the band as it was, and it was we always the old songs have like more open spaces and like 4 bars to this because we were planning on there being singing over top, but you got lyrics for songs.
I do.
I mean, it just so happened that we never really found anyone. I mean, we didn't really try that hard, and then it started to get like pretty good instrumentally.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we added the audio clip part of it, which sort of helps to take over for the lack of vocals a little bit.
Yeah, you guys put like interesting, like, what is it, like documentary movie stuff?
Yeah, like,
Yeah,
I don't know,
like,
a little bit
just
of conspiracy
whatever.
stuff, but
It's all,
Yeah.
it's all conspiracy. So a lot of it's from
Oh,
old
it's all
interviews.
conspiracy
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
You got all
Yeah,
the
not
songs
yet.
on there?
Not yet.
Yeah, no, we
Just
gotta
leave it.
We're only
Leave
at
it.
half an hour. We're only at half an hour. so
Leave it a bit.
We'll,
But yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, we'll talk about that on the extra edition of
Yeah.
Gettin.
So we had still considered it, though. We were thinking maybe once we finally put the EP out, then people could hear it. We could maybe audition people better that way. I think now we're just pretty content to know.
Yeah, it's-
and instrumental music is becoming way more accessible, and I like it. I mean,
yeah.
most of the metal bands I listen to despite the singer. You know what I mean? Like, I just listen to that asshole scream over top of this amazing music. And
Every recording I've ever done, my dad's like, "Can you send me a mix of that without the
Sure,
singer?" It's
right.
like, God damn
Yeah.
it. Yes.
There, your dad will love us then, you know?
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. So if you're listening to this,
Yeah, hey,
get your
Dad.
dad a copy of the disc.
Stop listening to this, Dad.
Yeah. Well, if your parents like it, it has to be cool, right?
You said you grew up listening to a lot of prog.
Well, yeah. So
Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah. I just
Thanks.
remember a lot of times in like grade 5. I remember in grade 5, Miss Clausen's like music class where she's like, they're just talking about how the Beatles are like the best thing ever and just like slamming it into our heads that the Beatles rule. And I'm like, this is so boring. Like at home, I'm listening to like blah, 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 and it's all over the place. You know what I mean? And I'm like, this is yeah, exactly.
All you
But-
need is love.
Paul McCartney's been dead since 1966.
That's right. Totally. I agree.
I don't
Okay,
agree.
sorry.
I watched that documentary.
Back to,
we'll
your,
get into that later.
back to your giant spider drum kit.
Right.
So try to explain this to people. Like Jordan has a giant rack. Do you have real toms on that? Yeah, you have.
Yeah, so I have real toms. I do have electronic components. So I have electronic toms as well, sort of, I don't know, in between the toms a little bit.
Yeah.
And then I don't have... I've eliminated my acoustic bass drum, so I now have pedals because I have like multiple pedals. I have 4, I guess, essentially kick drums, but they can be whatever I want them to be.
Right.
I used to have the acoustic kick drum and then an electric one that would before that was actually a snare that I rigged up so I could play with foot pedals, and then switch it to electronic, and then it mostly worked as a snare. And then the last little while I was getting annoyed how it had to be 2 double kicks and they couldn't be singles. So I've recently changed it and have a new pedal board.
You're a drummer that has a pedal board.
Yeah. I got 7
pretty wild.
pedals.
7 fucking pedals?
Yeah, I do,
Holy
yeah.
shit.
So they can kind of now, although I haven't really utilized it in any of the recorded music because that's a little older, right? But I have 4 pedals that can be whatever I want. So if I want, like, on my right foot, the inside one to be a kick and the right side to be something else percussive, I can have it in any configuration for any song. So like a guitar player, you'd have set patches for, like, this song has this one. I can have individual settings for each song. And that's just the foot pedal part of it. And then I've got, I don't actually have that many toms. I've got 5 toms, which isn't that crazy.
That's a lot.
It is, but I mean, there's people, and then
More than 3.
and then I got a shit ton of cymbals. I got so many cymbals because I like
Yeah.
all little accent splashes and stacks and all that kind of cool stuff.
I've always been intrigued by that idea. In my very first band, actually, Wes played in it. We were called Lynchpin.
Oh, yeah?
Our drummer had a Yamaha Extreme bottom and all real cymbals and a real snare.
Yeah,
And so I've always been interested in that because it's if you have real cymbals,
yeah.
fuck, like you're almost doing yourself a favor because most sound guys suck balls.
Yeah.
They can't mix an acoustic drum to save or have the mics to do it to save
Well,
their
and
life.
yeah.
So to have like a sampled kick is fucking awesome.
Well,
It
even
sounds
that
good.
how huge my kit is, I run 3 channels. Right.
Yeah, you have a board. This is where you and I disagree.
Well, and I know I
But-
agree. I agree with you on it too. I just do it out of like what you're saying. Is a lot of times they don't even have enough mics for all my toms.
Yeah.
And there's so much shit in there that it's hard to get the mics in to place
Do
them.
you send yourself a mix?
No.
Yeah,
No.
so you don't roll it with in-ears or anything?
No, we're not doing that
Okay.
yet. And that's kind of the next step now too. Is we're going to move to the audio clips being, I used to sample them live all the time. Now we've sort of in a transition period, so I'm not even using them live. But now we're going to do it where we're playing to a click, and the audio clips are just going to sample.
Yeah, that board you have hooked up to your giant spider could totally do that.
Yeah, no, it could.
You could run in-ear mixes out of that, I bet. I don't know how many auxes are on it. Anyways,
Yeah,
now
I'm
we're
not
getting
sure.
fucking
Yeah, all right, yeah. That's enough of that. But yeah,
just lost that last listener.
Yeah, that's the big kit, but I don't know.
Seriously, we got to turn this thing into a giant spider, man. I've had dreams about this.
Oh, have you?
We'll weld some fucking legs on there.
Yeah.
There's got to be something. We'll buy a digital fucking like a
can
3D
move me
printer,
around, like upside down.
We'll buy,
like Tommy Lee.
no. It'll just load in. You'll just have like a fucking remote control. You'll be like,
It would be awesome. Or like one of those military dog robot things like
God.
that. Those creepy things.
He has the most expensive drum kit in the world.
Yeah.
And it's not the drum part.
It's not even the drums. Yeah.
It's the robot.
Pearl exports that I painted.
Yeah. With what we were just talking about, with the reason where we digress as sound guy and drummer,
Yeah.
just give me a stereo mix. If you could do that.
Oh, sure.
If you could give me all your
We did
toms
do
on
that,
the stereo-
didn't we?
No, well, usually I get it on mono.
Yeah.
And then you have something else in your kick drum too, which I don't like as a sound guy.
Yeah.
guy. It comes out and it's fine. It's actually fine every time, and it's never been a problem.
I'm still using my old, whatever.
Usually you want those things separate.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyways, not to scald you on the internet.
Yeah.
But,
No, I get you.
but that's my only
It's just me
sound
sort of,
guy
it's
problem.
more me sort of dealing with like that large of a kit and going to venues that can't handle it. So I just
Right,
take it
just
out of the sound
strip
guy's
it.
hand. It's just like,
Totally.
here's the kick drum,
I
here's
understand.
my toms, you run the snare, 3 channels, that whole massive kit. And so
Yeah.
that's why.
Most guys, smoke crack all day and pawn their mics and then go do sound.
You put the crack down at noon, I heard.
yeah.
You're a morning crack user.
I've never smoked crack, but this is a funny story. Wes and I were, you know Soda?
What? Is
Remember
this a
that
person?
Club Soda?
Oh, no.
It was
the
right
place
next.
soda.
Yeah,
Club soda, that's a weird word to say.
Well, yeah, but in Calgary here,
Yeah.
there's this fucking weird club. I think it's still there.
I don't know it. No.
It's this big purple. It's next to that awesome pizza on like 12th or whatever.
Okay.
Fuck. By the old, by the Drum and Monkey.
Doesn't matter. Tell the
It's
story.
down by the Drum and Monkey. Anyways, this dude's like, hey, you guys want to hoot? And we're like, fuck yeah. And then he takes us in the bathroom. We're like, fuck, we can smoke. In my head, I'm like, we can smoke weed in the bathroom? That's not, this place is cool. And then he busts out this fucking little weird crack pipe and starts smoking crack. And we're like, thanks, buddy, but no thanks. Good
Right.
try.
Yeah.
I thought it was weird because I thought crackheads don't share, but apparently they do.
Well, when they want
Maybe
potential clients.
Yeah, he was a dealer.
Yeah, probably.
Getting you hooked.
Probably was a dealer. Slick. Didn't work. I said no.
Damn.
Nancy Reagan worked on this guy right here. Okay. So now we got to talk about the man, the myth, the legend, Matt Petty.
Yeah, let's do it.
Holy
I can
fuck.
talk about that guy
Last time I
forever.
saw him, I was getting a dude boner for him.
Of course, that's what
A
everyone...
broner. I was getting a broner. That's what I meant to say.
Straight up broner.
Yeah.
Fuck. I was like, you're looking
Getting
good,
hard
buddy.
for
Been
Matt
working
Petty.
out.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Oh, he
So,
has
like-
been. Yeah.
And he's a fucking...
He's gonna hate listening to this part.
He's
I want to
like
watch
the
him
raddest.
listen to it.
He's the raddest bass.
Oh yeah,
the
he's
action on the internet.
He's the man.
He's the raddest bass player. Well, there is no raddest, but he's up there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And
He's a rad bass player.
yeah, all the tapping and the wackiness, and
Yeah.
he's got all you guys have such rad rigs. So cool.
Yeah.
I just want to. Don't play Vancouver
No, why is
Oh,
that?
I'll get
because
stolen.
all your shit will get jacked.
All right.
right.
Just don't play near East Hastings.
Yeah, that is where you play when you play metal.
Yeah, where else would you play?
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, I think that's why Caveat grabbed him up, right? That's,
Oh, for sure.
That's
Is-
released news, right? I can say that.
Well, and Verbal D and
Yeah.
everybody.
Yeah.
Right?
Shoes are big shoes to fill in that band.
Yeah, for sure, man. Terry was amazing. And he's filling them again, I think.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Caveat's playing Metalfest.
Yeah.
Go to CalgaryMetalfest.com.
Promo spot.
and,
Check out Matt Petty there.
Matt Petty's a shit. Yeah. So, yeah, I guess those are the only two real active bands that he's in right now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
Cool.
And it's enough though, man. I mean,
fuck.
I was when
two, like,
Verbal D
rad
was still
prog bands
jamming
in
too. Two bands is a lot, man. When you want to have a life on top of it. I mean, both the bands that he's in and that when Verbal D was jamming, we're relevant jammers. Some bands, they get a show and then they start practicing for it.
Yeah.
We would practice 2 days a week, and when you're in two bands, that's 4 days a week. That's a part-time job,
Yeah.
With no pay.
with no
With
pay.
no pay.
No,
That you
like
pay
you
out
pay
to
in,
do.
we pay into it.
Yeah.
It's the opposite.
Well, the best that I ever had a band working was when we were doing what I call band tax, which I instituted. That was everybody had to pay $100 a month to be in the band.
Well, we do.
That was the rule,
we
to
do
be
it
in the
too.
band.
Yeah.
We do
You had
band
to pay
dues.
100.
Yeah.
And fuck, $100 a month, and at that time that was Kilyakai. That was the only. We did it in Kayaktas for a bit, but it didn't happen very long. But because $100 a month is a lot.
It's a lot. Yeah.
But we were banking $600 a month, man. The first show we had a banner and we had merch and we had.
That's wicked.
I remember
It's a good idea,
Greg
man.
from Caveat. We played with Caveat, and they were like, "What the fuck? Like, you guys have all the shit. It's your first show. Wow.
Yeah.
And you were awesome. Cool." So, anyways, if you're in a band, charge everybody to be in it, or it makes you go
Band
places.
taxes, band dues. Well, yeah, I mean, because come time for the recording, then what? You're all coughing up money. You're not making enough, getting paid $150 a show to pay for your recording. So you just gotta come out of your pocket sometime. Might as well make slow payments.
Yeah, there's no more 6-nighters where you can be like, "Oh yeah, we'll just set up here all week and fucking
Totally.
play 3 sets a night and get $2,000 for the week." No, that shit doesn't fucking happen anymore.
Is that funny too? I heard that the rates, back when my uncle, for example, was playing in bands, they were getting paid the same per night as we are now, and that's now being split between 3 bands. They would get per night, say $600 per night.
But a pack of cigarettes was 75 cents.
Yeah, that's right.
Exactly.
So
not $14.
So everything else, minimum wage has gone up how much, and still that rate.
Minimum
the
wage
same.
was $3.50.
Yeah, exactly.
Rent was $49 a month.
Yeah, totally.
Or $400 for a huge house.
Yeah.
No, I know. I've heard that a bunch too. That's same with sound guys.
Yeah.
Oh fuck. Yeah. No, it's whatever. It's the arts.
It's any job where you do it because you love it. They're gonna take advantage of the fact they don't have to pay you much.
Yeah. Well, we're all pacifists too. We're not gonna light anything on fire.
Yeah.
Right. I don't know. There's just no money in it like there used to be.
Well, because people cared before. You didn't have 1,000 new songs a week on the radio to kind of listen to. You had to
right, but then you had a tyrannical music business that was shelving bands and all this backroom bullshit that was going on too. I mean,
and just
it's okay, so it's either there's the internet or 3 guys run everything.
Yeah.
It's fuck. Those are my choices.
Oh, I got that.
Yeah, so I don't know, whatever. C'est la vie.
Yeah, man.
We don't play music for money.
Yeah, I would do it anyways.
I'll be like my dad and just be an old man playing in a cover band, whatever. When I'm old, I like writing music.
band.
I like writing music too much, but still, you know what I mean. Whatever gets you out there and playing, it's cool.
But you guys could be rocking Illuminated Minerva forever.
Yeah.
Your brothers. Fuck.
I'd write
right.
I'd write ILM riffs till I die, man.
Yeah, you'll
Do you
probably
think
it
that
anyway.
anyone would you ever see an instance where one of you would want to fire the other one?
Us too?
Do you think that would ever happen?
No, and Jordan
Probably
and I
impossible.
we even got into it once before a long time ago.
Yeah, it was fucking jerseyed each other and shit.
we would never come to fisticuffs.
No, not even when we were kids, but not like that now.
Well, now we all see pretty eye to eye.
Yeah,
I think is
it's
what
really good. It's probably the first band or lineup where there isn't some sort of problem member or anything. We're all pretty chill. It almost never happens that way.
It takes this long to get there.
Yeah,
at Jam on Monday, I was like, fuck. I'm standing here right now, and I feel like it took me my whole life to get here.
Yeah.
Which it absolutely did.
Yeah.
And what I was referencing is just the fact, we were writing this song, and we changed what we were doing, maybe 50 times.
Yeah.
It was just there was none of this oh, I'm butthurt because you don't like my part.
Yeah.
And all that.
No.
You know that shit you go through in your 20s? Because we're all kind of the same age.
Yeah.
Jordan turned 31 tonight. You said you're what, 33, 34?
33, yeah.
33?
Turning 34 in 9 days.
I'm 32.
Yeah.
I'm turning 33
Yeah.
at Metalfest. So, even when in my first band when I was like 15, it was like, we could have gone so much further if we knew what an ego was. Or knew what,
well, I think that was probably our argument, was me and ego at that time. And I mean, I was young. I was, we were probably like 19, 20, or I don't know if that's what you're talking about, some,
I don't really
whatever. But I used to have a bit of a fucking ego. And I mean, are we doing this? Is this happening right now? This is a small place, man.
Yeah,
it's a small room.
Headbutt. The flurry of Bourgeois headbutts.
I think that, it's just your musical maturity at this point in time. I think that if you're real cocky and ego, it's you feel threatened. You know what I mean? You feel like someone up there and you feel threatened, and you're going to pick them apart. But if you're confident and like what you do, and you see another good player, you're like, that guy's rad. I love this shit. You know.
Like I've always taken the bull by the horns with the bands I've been in, because I feel like nobody does.
Yeah.
And I like in the writing process, I mean, in the past I brought more riffs or whatever. Maybe it doesn't. To me, I'm an arrangement guy, and I'm like, if something pops up in my head where I'm like, oh, let's try this.
Yeah.
That's all I'm ever doing, right? It's like, let's just try this thing just popped in my head and in those less mature days, it was always taken, and I'm not butthurt about it.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck. It's just how people mature.
Yeah, for sure.
But it was taken as like a personal attack on the person, because it's like, no, I'm not saying I don't like your part. I'm saying that's awesome, but if we just
tried this,
let's just try this idea. I always went under the premise that I'm talking to myself like I'm dead right now, but I always went under the premise that the worst idea was the one that was never said,
Right.
And I never squashed anybody's ideas, but somehow it would always turn out where it was like, Nate's being a fucking dick.
Oh, we're really good for that, because Nate basically writes most of the riffs.
Yeah.
Matt brings a lot to the table. I sometimes have parts that are sort of like polyrhythm parts or count parts that I want them to follow, obviously, note basis. I mean, I'm a drummer. I don't know any of that.
Right.
So, but for the most part, Nate does most of the writing, but we almost change everything. Like, it's like every riff is just like brought to the table like a rough draft, and then we change. There's that, like, I don't know, one heavy part that whatever, like, and we just change the pattern so many times that we actually never play the original riff that was brought to the table.
Oh yeah.
Every part we just changed sort of the timings and where the hits were, and then to the point so much I don't even remember what the original one was.
Me neither.
Yeah.
Yeah, who cares?
So it's constant changes. Like, oh, dude, I like that, but you should, we'll change the timing at the end to sort of like tech it out a little bit, since we're into that kind of crap. So
yeah, I mean, I think people like that too. I mean, there's always trolls, but fucking people like it if it's a little not exactly like the album. You know what I mean? There's a feel.
Well, I even mean in the original writing process, like it is the same.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
It is the same now.
It's now you guys nail it perfect.
It is written the way that it's on the recording, and it's performed that way. It's just that when we were writing it, like, the riff that was presented has been modified and changed each run through, as opposed to like playing it 4 times. We play it, I don't know, 12 times, but it's every one's different. So you know.
Well, the second time you explained that to me, I got it.
There you go.
These beers must be working.
Yeah. The coffee's not doing its job, though.
I think it's ramming the booze into my liver is what's happening. God, I'm 1.5 in. And
that's what happens when you drink it up your butt.
Oh! Yeah.
It's getting weird. You guys,
it's a new fad.
You can only hear, but Nate's butt chugging all these beers.
It's the only way to do it on the radio.
His shirt lifted up or down because he was doing a handstand and wrote Culligan on his chest.
So,
no, there's not enough room in here.
Trying to be more professional.
Oh, sorry.
What's the name of the EP? Where'd you record it? Tell me about the EP.
Well, okay, well, the EP is just called the Immaculate Deception.
You released it in 2014, right?
Yeah, which is all our songs from 2011.
Right.
Yeah, they're all our older tunes, but...
Well, yes and no, actually, though, right? Because Montauk was our newest song at that time.
Yeah.
So actually, even the new one that we'll get whatever our recording now has a couple of songs that are older than the EP.
Yeah.
It's sort of like
nice.
we picked the ones that we felt like we should record to do 3. So there's actually the newer one that we're going to do is a bit of old and new. But anyway, back to you.
No, it's all right. And then we did it with Alan Sasha Laskow there, which rules because he just knows so much about music and stuff like that. And
What's the EP called?
the Immaculate Deception.
Okay.
He said it.
You
man.
just said
Come
that?
on.
All right, sorry.
Jeez.
I was reading it while you were saying it. That's why. So it canceled itself out. Sorry.
Yeah, and I don't know, we just recorded it with Sasha there, and it went well. Like I was saying, he just knows a lot about music, so he knows if like something isn't working or
some notes problems.
Yeah, exactly, and it just goes smooth. You kind of like you just learn. Like him and I have a good rapport, so I know his style of recording. So I'll know if I don't hit something right, I'll know. I'll just be like, I just got to do that one again, right?
Yeah.
And it's a little bit hard, especially playing songs that are like 11 minutes long or whatever, right? So it gets.
Yeah, Sasha, for people that don't know, is in Divinity, and he was in The Race back in the day.
Yeah.
Remember that band?
I don't remember
I do.
that.
I remember The Race. Yeah.
And he's in now Every Hour Kills.
Yeah.
He was End It All before too,
Yeah,
right?
that's-
Oh, yeah. Fuck. Yeah, right.
Walk is Chaos,
Walk is
yeah.
Chaos, yeah. Look him up. He's a fucking magician.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he's the
he is a
man.
magician.
What's
And
the name of his studio? Perfect Fifth?
Yeah, Perfect Fifth.
Yeah.
And I think since we have recorded with him like a few times now, we're good buddies with him now. So it works out really well. Like there's less of that sort of nerve-wracking experience of, especially since he is such a master. You know what I mean? It can be that much more, especially maybe you guys on guitar, like just having him watching you and he's hilarious too. He's always just like, oh, that riff's kind of gay, and then you just like are like, oh, okay, he just like rips on it constantly. But it's sort of like
You need that.
it's tough love, man.
Totally,
He's like,
yeah.
you're like, it might be a little whatever.
If your buddy's ribbing you in the studio, that's and he's your producer. That's a good thing.
Yeah, no, it's awesome.
And he does lots of like the synth stuff on the album. Like he wrote all those kind of parts, and probably in the next one here too. Like
Fuck, cool.
kind of give him free reign on that because he comes up with great ideas, and so.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
And I think that we'll record everything with him. Like I think when we do the next one too, just go. to him
like
again.
even if we hit the big time, if somehow instrumental prog music is the next big thing,
Right. You get to open for Yes.
exactly. And when Yes opens for us,
right.
no, I'm saying that if that ever did happen, still record with that bro.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
He just gets he gets what we're trying to go for. You know,
Put him
what I
in a
mean?
bigger studio.
Yeah, that's
like
right.
he can go out to that, like that fucking OCL Studios.
Yeah, that's
Jesus
right.
Christ. Little piece of Hollywood in fucking Strathmore or whatever it is.
Yeah, for sure.
That's awesome.
So
he mixed and mastered the first Kayaktis EP, and he's going to master the second one.
Sweet.
Yeah, he does a lot of that for people too. It's like just the mixing and mastering, or just mastering, I guess. Sure. Yeah, so we get him. We get him
He's
for
always
it
like,
all.
"Did you give me tight takes, bro?
Yeah.
That's what I need."
That's a pretty good impression. Yeah.
Yeah. He freaks me out. I never know if he's going to stab me or if he's just joking.
Yeah, well, he's got the mad scientist eyes for sure. You never know what's behind those eyes.
Totally. Yeah, he can
Genius
just
or insanity.
pull out 2 butterfly knives and fucking gut me.
Yeah.
Not good enough takes.
Yeah. Your playing is inferior. Awesome.
Yeah. So
Every Hour Kills Sasha's band is playing on the on April 3rd.
That's
at
Nancy's party, right?
Nancy's birthday and the CMF fundraiser.
And they crush it too.
They're so good.
It's
I fucking love mixing that band live. They have all just and you guys too. Like when everybody has super rad fucking tones, it's like, oh, thank you, fuck.
Nice.
Not just eating shit the whole time,
Yeah.
trying to get this to sound good. It's fucking,
Yeah.
it sounds good already, and then now I can try to enhance it.
Yeah.
That's what people don't realize. It's like, oh, I love my fucking shitty Marshall amp.
Yeah.
And it's like, I know you do, and it sounds great in your room, but
Yeah, and that's what people got to understand too. It's not about you sounding good as an individual, but how it sounds as everyone playing in the band together, you know?
yeah, totally.
Oh, I just care about how I sound.
Well, yeah. No way. So I wanted to ask you, Jordan, about Jordan is an airbrush master. Can you tell everybody, plug your shit,
Okay,
man.
yeah, sure. So I guess I go by the tag JBo Airbrush, which is JBO like one word sort of, I don't know, I guess if you had to search it on Facebook, it's like capital J, capital B, lowercase o, and then Airbrush is my sort of artist tag. And I do a lot of goalie masks and motorcycles.
I saw
like
that. You were on TV for your goalie mask.
That's right. I painted
prosthetic arm.
Oh yeah, right. That's right. Yeah, I painted a prosthetic arm.
Wow.
Whatever will come to me, I'll not everything, but I'll paint pretty much whatever if it can be painted.
How do you get those hospital gigs? Jesus, that seems like that'd be the shit right there.
The hospital gigs.
Yeah, and the prosthetics. And
that came because I was seeing the girl that I painted her arm. So
whoa,
yeah,
gangster.
Yeah, totally. Okay. So didn't even get paid for that one. Well, not with money.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
You don't get it.
It was Bitcoin.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so I was on.
She paid me in cryptocurrency.
Yeah. The TV thing was I painted the Calgary Flames guy's mask, so that was a little bit of press for that.
That's how good that goalie is.
Yeah. That's actually true. He wasn't in for very long, and he was gone shortly after.
Yeah, traded to Edmonton, eh?
Yeah.
No, but that's fucking amazing. That thing came out like holy fuck.
Yeah, it was a cool deal. What happened actually was they were needed it done in no time, so they had to go with someone locally because he's like a Swiss goalie, and he gets his mask made by a Swiss-made guy who also paints the masks. So all his masks will get painted by that guy. Mm-hmm. But what happened was he had one that had the name of the farm team that he was on, and then he got officially sort of signed to the Flames, so they wouldn't let him wear the one that said like Heat on it or whatever, right?
Oh, right.
So then it would take however long to get Buddy to make a new mask and paint it, and he was potentially going to get played, so they needed a mask painted in 2 days, which is actually like ridiculous. So anyway,
where the fuck is border security on this? You know, like, you ever seen that show?
Yeah.
Where they're like, "Are you coming here to work?"
Yeah.
Like they can just fire off work like that out to Switzerland. You should be getting all that work.
I should be, I suppose.
Fucking call those assholes.
Well, even most of them are done by a couple of different dudes in the States and wherever. Like they get almost all the. It's hard to get in the NHL because there's just
3 guys.
Well, like all the Bauer has their painters,
right?
And so it's like if you get in a Bauer mask, then they're like, "Oh, tell our guy what you want," and they do it. So like I have a lot of like minor league guys, and if they make it to the NHL, they'll probably stick with me, right? Because I've done their masks. They like some of them are younger. And as they get older or get traded teams, they still get masks done for me, right?
Well, I guess that's just how the world works, isn't it?
So whatever, cool. It was a good deal and a good little promo spot.
I hope that works out for you. That'd be awesome, man. If a couple guys got signed or some shit.
Yeah, totally. And either way, regardless, I'm getting a business from the local community for it anyway, right? And I do other things, like I've done big murals, and there's a couple of videos. I guess we're shooting promo stuff. There's a video called Jungle Room Time-Lapse. YouTube video. I guess if you search JBo Airbrush on YouTube, you'd find them both. And then the other one is Skeletar, which is me. Have you seen Keith, KJB3, Keith Jonathan Branson, his guitar? Yeah. That's all skulls and stuff. Yeah, I painted. So there's a video you can watch of me painting the process. Yeah, that's Keith's guitar. So and I want to.
You ever done? What's the biggest thing you ever done?
That entire room the room. Okay. Yeah.
Have you ever done a car?
Yes and no. I have a car. I have a car in my shop that's just like been sitting there for years, and I started it forever ago, and I need.
It's your car?
No, it's a customer car, and it needs to get finished. But I'm just so busy with other stuff, and it's unfortunate because he's like become a friend through the whole process, and it's easier to sort of pass over a buddy's job for like a client that's on the list waiting, but he's been waiting even longer, so I really do need to get on it. But it's such a big project that it's really hard to just like, I can't just like work on it for a week and it'll be done. It's like it's like
give it a month.
Way more than that. Like it's months, so it's so hard to negotiate that kind of time when I have jobs lining up, and then something takes to, like, I negotiate a little bit of time, or something comes up and pushes back. Anyway, long story on that. But so JBo Airbrush, that's the tag. Check it out. So it's jboairbrush.com is my website. It's not that updated, so Facebook's better. I'm on Instagram as whatever, at JBo Airbrush, one word. that's it. Don't do any other social medias.
Cool.
Yeah.
So were you like a hardcore gangster thug tagger? Is that what got you into it?
Absolutely not. No. I just I did industrial painting as well. What Nate did, and we were talking about that before. And I used to draw and things like that, but I even got way out of that basically when I started drumming and skateboarding and whatever in high school. And then everyone there was sort of pushing that, you can draw and stuff, you should get an airbrush. So I eventually did, and then a couple guys there got me to paint some stuff, and my dad got me to paint a guitar for him. I painted my drums, my old Verbal Deception drum kit. That was one of my first things that I did.
Nice work.
Yeah, it was ages ago, but it still looks pretty okay today.
Fuck yeah.
And then from then I got a bunch of other work, and eventually was able to start doing it on my own actually I've probably been doing it like 4 or 5. This is my 5th year, I think, doing it as my full-time job. So
fucking hey.
Yeah.
Killer. Well, I think what we're going to do right now, we just hit just about an hour. I'm going to do some more commercials, and then we're going to listen to some Illuminated Minerva. And then I want to come back, if this is kind of the end of the official podcast, but if we're just going to slip slowly into the down the hill into hell here after this. But I want to talk about some cool stuff. I want to talk about some prog festivals here in town and stuff like that, and then it might get into aliens. We'll see. I saw one the other night.
Interesting.
When I did the Dan Marshall fucking podcast 5, the one before this. Yeah, and I came in after having a piss outside, right before we were about to start the thing, and I saw it, and it disappeared. And I came in, and I'm like, fuck, I saw fucking UFO. And they're like, yeah, okay, can we fucking do this? Anyways.
I'm down with that, man. I'm down with that, definitely.
Yeah. I like that that Illuminated Minerva is like a conspiracy-based band. That's pretty awesome.
Thanks, man.
Even the thing about that too is you were doing that. Well, that's sort of all on Nate, but like we were doing that so long ago. Now I hear about lots of bands, and the problem is we sat on it for like 8 years before releasing anything, and now you hear, a decent amount of bands that are. That subject matter is cool, so it's not a surprise.
No, they're ripping you off.
To do it.
They're ripping you off.
Well, they're not, but it's just a shame that. We didn't release it well before. But.
Yeah. So, does Illuminated Minerva have like IlluminatedMinerva.com or anything like that?
Bandcamp.
Bandcamp. Check out the links. Hit the read more on BigNateProductions.com, and where you can always listen to this podcast.
What is it? I think it's just IlluminatedMinerva.bandcamp.com. That's right. Potomatic. Jeez.
It's like Potomatic with a banana in there somewhere. Yeah, check out the links and all the descriptions. Go check out Illuminated Minerva. Give them all the likes.
Oh yeah, there's I did a drum playthrough on YouTube as well. So there's me playing one of the songs. Sorry to oust the rest of the members of the band.
So go to Jordan Borjo as hard as fuck. And watch his drum playthrough.
There's a link for it.
Oh, there's a link for it. There you go. He has his own YouTube channel.
Dude, that's true.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So officially, thank you for being here.
Thanks right on. Man. It was super fun.
Cheers. And the commercials at the end. Go to rightlikeMikes.com. Go to BigNateProductions.com. Go to CalgaryMetalfest.com.
Yeah.
Buy all of that shit. Just send money to BigNateProductions@gmail.com. Just send money there. Just do it because it'll help everything.
Yeah.
I don't usually get to see money, so if you send me some money, that would be awesome.
You'll know what it looks like.
Yeah, I'll know. Yeah,
even
I'll
just
go
like
down
old beer cans and shit.
Yeah, totally. Drop off your empties in the Southwest. We'll meet somewhere down at the docks. So thanks a lot for getting hard in Nate's backyard, everybody.
Yeah.
It's much appreciated, and we may or may not see you on the other side. So, thanks, Nancy, for being here.
Welcome.
And
well, I'll be back to talk.
We're gonna play an epic.
Yeah, we're not done.
We're gonna play an epic 11-minute fucking
You're playing the
Illuminated
11-minute one.
Minerva song.
Cool.
What's it called?
Becoming Bielek.
Yep, that's what it's called.
Sweet.
Off of
The Immaculate.
The Immaculate Deception, released April 14th, 2014.
April.
That's what it said on your website.
Cool. Yeah.
I was doing research.
Yeah. I remember playing in like the summertime. Maybe that's when we played the show. That's the difference. I don't know. Whatever.
It was nice.
Yeah.
Thanks for getting hard in Nate's backyard, everybody. We'll be back.
Some kind, and the ship disappeared. Before the that the ship was already out of the harbor in hyperspace. To turn off the AC controls and all of the AC power drives and everything else. Nothing could be turned off. All of the control handles, knobs, what have you, were frozen. We knew that something was very definitely wrong. And at this point, we decided there's nothing we can do. So we opened the relocated door, went out on deck. We saw where we went out on deck, which you could not see the horizon. You could not see the chase of land. All you could see was a great fog, which was just a little bit beyond the railing of the ship. We'll jump overboard to the shore. That was the point where things got very strange. We did not hit the water. There was no water. Just out of the floor. We just kept falling.
Awesome. So I wanted to talk about this festival, Innovāre Accord, or I'm sure I'm saying that wrong. Invierno? No, sorry. there's some kind of Spanish squiggly line above
Over
something
the
that's
E,
throwing
over the
me
E,
off.
It's like a umlaut. Those are called like a umlaut or something.
Umlaut. You guys just played the fundraiser, the 1.5 version. The last one was August 22nd, 2014.
We played that one too.
Number one. You played that one as well?
Yeah,
Cool.
we did.
No, that's awesome. That's Brian Buss, is he the one that...
Yeah, that's his.
Yeah.
And it was like years and years back, he called it like Prog Fest or whatever, right? But
Okay.
so he had to name it something more original, I assume. So he
Fair
came up
enough.
with something very original.
Right. Yeah. That's why I called Calgary Metalfest, because I was like, I can't believe nobody's taking this.
Right? Oh, yeah.
I'm
No
just
doubt.
taking it.
Yeah,
I'm taking it, and it's my birthday party,
Yeah.
and I don't give a fuck.
That's right.
Everybody, there was this one butthurt guy on the internet when I announced, they
yeah.
shut down Noctis for this? That's what he says, eh? They shut
Really?
down... What? It was like, I'm sorry, you have the wrong facts on this.
Information, yeah.
I worked for my friend.
Yeah, that's right.
I kind of had to lay it all out for him and be like, yo, bro, that's not how it works. Like,
Yeah.
Or it went at all.
Or went at all. Yeah, actually, Joey Hawken, I think he's... That's not how it went at all. It was like... Good old Joey Hawken. Shout out, buddy. He fucking was in there right away. Because that was a jam. I noticed it was like 3 hours ago. I was like, what? Fuck. Yeah, I missed it, but I got on it. So, Innovāre Accord.
Yeah. Yeah, and this one was cool because it was very, like, almost all the bands except for Hello Moth were, like, instrumental prog bands. So it was, like, very, like, if you liked us, it was the right type of show to be at.
I like how Brian somehow pulls off doing 2 stages of Dickens, too.
Yeah.
And it worked
Good
pretty
move.
good. It
Yeah,
worked
yeah.
pretty good,
Fuck yeah.
actually.
If you're going to deal with a rectangle, why not put stages on 2 sides?
turn that shit into an
Well, and
L.
it's even
Oh,
raised
yeah.
up, too, right? It's just got, I guess, that little bit of...
Well, that's where the stage used to be.
Right, I heard that, yeah.
When it was Buckingham's.
Oh, wow.
And previous to that, it was called Dickens back in the day. Yeah, I think I saw a cover band there when I first moved here in 01 when it was still Buckingham's. The glass that says Buckingham's when you walk through the front
Oh,
door
that's
is
right.
still
Yeah,
there,
it still says that. That's right. Yeah, no, the 2 stages worked well, so there's not a lot of, in between, tear down, and you get a little bit more time as a band to set up, which is all right.
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and from my point of view, it's like he worries about that stage, and then we have half an hour to change over the giant spider. It's no big deal.
Yeah. Oh, man, it's no problem anyway.
It's never a problem.
I spend an
It's
hour
never a
setting
problem.
that thing up on my own time.
Yeah,
Like,
that's right.
Loading it on a stage is quick because it's all one big piece. So
Yeah.
And we got like Griffin and shit there. It goes so easy.
yeah, a couple of dudes with some muscles, they'll look that.
Griffin
One day I
is
won't even
top
have
of
to.
the
I won't
class.
even have to grab the rack. I'll just have other
That
minions
giant's-
do it for me. Well,
No, it'll be a giant spider.
yeah,
We're gonna
sure.
turn it into
Yeah, you get on
We're
that.
going to crowdfund this.
Yeah.
Biggest crowdfunding record ever.
Oh yeah. That's going to be
For
embarrassing.
robotic drum kit.
No one's going to want to do that.
Yeah, fucking A. So, best of luck, Brian Buss, on your... We don't know... He hasn't announced when the second edition of the festival is,
Yeah.
but the last one was in August, so... End of August, so probably
That would
around
be summertime-ish.
summertime feely. Hopefully it doesn't start snowing here yet, but
Jeez.
we've been pretty lucky this
Yeah,
winter, don't you think?
totally.
Yeah.
It's only like getting cold now.
Yeah, just now. And it's March.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, so that brings me into everything's fucked and aliens and
Yeah, well, why
We
don't
killed
if
Kennedy
you're going to
and
get
Princess
into that,
Di.
why don't you get into it about what the songs are about, since they're all conspiracy based?
oh, there we go. Yeah, what was that last one about that we just heard?
That one was called like Becoming Bielek, and it's about a guy named Alfred Bielek, who was maybe this guy named Edward Cameron. And the whole first part of the song is them talking about the Philadelphia experiment, which is in 43. They try to take the USS Eldridge and turn it invisible because Nazi U-boats are basically like crushing anything that leaves American shores. So the fight in Germany is very hard for Americans, right? So they take Tesla. They started in 31 with Tesla, to see if they can even. And then midway through, Tesla kind of feels that, like, if there's people aboard the ship, because they do a test early in 1941, and it's with no one on it, and it disappears for a little bit and comes back. Disappears as in becomes invisible, I guess. You know what I mean?
Isn't it just radar that they get?
The first time it comes off radar, and it's more actually enclosed in sort of like
but
a
it
gray.
didn't actually physically disappear to the eye? Or
Well,
it just disappeared on radar?
Yeah,
the first time?
The first time, yeah.
Okay.
And then the second test, they kind of amp it up where they place sort of 2 Tesla coils on the front and aft of the ship, and they try to do 2 sort of rotating fields. One field rotating inside the other at different hertz, I guess, or whatever, right?
Oh, fuck.
And so Tesla...
Fuck.
Yeah, and Tesla kind of, or as Al Bielek says, he sort of sabotages it because he's really fearful of the people
The
on...
weaponization of the technology.
Well,
that's what it seemed like.
yeah, yeah.
Like his
And-
whole technology.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's what ends up happening sort of in the end. But he's sort of afraid of the people on there. He doesn't want innocent lives to be hurt
Oh, I see.
because, they're kind of... you're messing with, like, sort of interdimensional kind of ideas here. You're trying to displace it out of this reality so you don't see it, right? And he kind of sabotages it the first time so that it doesn't work at all, and he sort of withdraws from it, and he's like, well, as Al Bielek says, he's sort of got different things working on at the time, which is sort of his particle accelerator, which is like the total basis for our particle accelerator.
Right.
And he sort of leaves that, and then they bring this guy named Dr. John van Neumann, who's like the same kind of guy as Tesla, but he works in different types of areas. Like Tesla is a dual field guy, where this guy's a phased array guy, so he likes all his fields running simultaneously at the same time, right? And so what they do is he explains as he's on it. So he's on it, controlling the machinery from the inside of the ship, and it sort of starts to go a little bit haywire. Like he says, there's sort of like etheric energy, or it was Tesla would have called it ether, and the ship sort of disappears out of the harbor into its own sort of hyperspace bubble, in a sense. So it's floating in reality and out of reality at the same time, and it appears
The coils aren't quite synced right, or something.
Yeah, or
they don't have the math down quite.
Yeah,
right.
well, that's they say about the Van Neumann guy is like he's not sort of the mind that Tesla was, right? He's just he's still super brilliant, obviously, but I mean Tesla was clearly on another level. But it appears that the Elder sort of hops around, like it appears in the Philadelphia Naval Yard for a little bit, and it kind of bamps around all these sort of places, right?
Jesus.
And then so he's on there with his brother, Duncan Cameron, and they're sort of deep inside the ship, sort of covered by all the steel walls, where everyone else is sort of on the actual ship. So when they begin to realize that something bad's happening, try to shut it off, and nothing shuts off, everything is kind of frozen in place, and they run aboard, and when they run on top, people are sort of melded into the ship, like guys are like falling part way through the bulkhead, and they decide that they're going to sort of jump overboard, right? And when they do, they sort of just fall into, like he says, it's just gray. They're just falling into gray, and then all of a sudden it's clouds, and then they end up being in the year 2137, which is a whole other deal, right?
Holy
and
fuck.
so in 2137, it's like Duncan Cameron is severely burnt because he's jumped off first, and Edward, or Al Bielek, is not in as bad shape, right? And they remember, as they say, that they're just like falling through the sky. That's all and then they sort of wake up in the hospital, right? And so Al Bielek, or Edward, gets called, and the society at the time is sort of, and it's pretty fantastical the way they talk about it. Like society has sort of been completely destroyed and rebuilt. So now we don't live on the earth. We now live in sort of giant floating cities, and these cities just kind of move around over top of what no one talks about, apparently. No one says about what has happened before. No one even knows, so he says, right? And he gets a job as a tour guide. But then eventually
So this guy went in the future and came back.
Yeah, well, yeah. That happens sort of a little later on. So they they're in 2137, and he's sort of having this job as a tour guide, which he said they just trained you. And no one did anything in the future. It's sort of like massive socialism. You just kind of like did what you wanted, and everyone made money and whatever. So he eventually gets called upon by the computer system at the time, which are these giant sort of crystalline computers, and it sort of tells him the deal, like, you fell through hyperspace, and what's happening right now is that the ship is still in hyperspace, sort of destroying the environment that it's in, using up all this sort of energy. And so we have to take you and your brother and send you back onto the ship to fucking break it down to stop it from happening, right? Which is a total trip. If it's
Holy fuck.
true, I don't know. But I can still see how...
It's a great episode of Star Trek, no matter what.
Totally. And the thing is like, when he's talking about these things, this is in like 1991. So he's talking about 5-dimensional hyperspace, which isn't even like an idea. Hyperspace is barely an idea in the 90s, right? And he's talking about it being 5 dimensions, right? So, and he's not, and Al Bielek's not like a slouch sort of bro either. Like, he has a lot of patents for like communication equipment and building tubes. Like, he's like a tube guy, right? Building tube
that little
shit.
Technology.
Yeah. And so the computer system telling them they have to do that, and so they send them back to 1943 on top of the Eldridge, and they kind of, however that happens, they sort of
crystalline computers, obviously.
The crystalline computer
make it happen.
Yeah, which would most likely be the thing that sort of picked him out of the sky, I would imagine. But so they send them back.
Fuck.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It's just like Star Trek.
Yeah. And so they send him sort of back and however that works, and because there's
crystalline entity.
Yeah, the wingmakers, they called them, actually. They called them wingmakers or whatever. That's what everyone referred to them as. And so they send them back to the Eldridge. They sort of smash it down, and whatever.
Out of hyperspace.
Okay. Yeah, and it returns back to the naval yard, but it's like 40 hours later or something like that. Like, I don't really remember the time.
Holy fuck.
And the guys on the ship. So this is when it comes back, and they go aboard the ship because there's no more distress signal coming from it. Like, no one's sort of responding to the equipment. So they bring a boat over there, and Al and Duncan are fine, or Edward and Duncan are fine, but everyone else is sort of half in the bulkhead. Guys, they say there's guys who are like sort of disappearing in and out of reality, and there's lots of stories about afterwards where that was a problem these guys suffered from, is that, like, there's one sort of a guy sitting at his table, and he sort of like disappears into this sort of other reality.
Holy fuck, interdimensional PTSD?
Yeah, there was one story when we were sifting through the clips that a guy had like an invisible arm after. It wasn't missing. Like, he could pick things up and stuff with it. Is that right?
His like limb is missing or whatever.
Wow.
And then what kind of have they sort of also?
It's like 20 milliseconds ahead of the rest of his body, which is like pretty good when you went 147 years in the future, or 53 or whatever.
Yeah. And there's also like, and it changes more because the more he sort of
you got to get back into him turning into
turning into Alfred
Bielek.
Bielek. So at an eventual point, he's sort of, him and his brother are sort of out of the loop in the time loop, right? So they're not supposed to die, like they're supposed to die naturally, and since they know all this information, they're supposed to be being killed off and all this sort of stuff. But at some point, they eventually go to the Montauk projects, which is Tesla-style frequency projects, but you're now sort of directing it into people. Like, if you look at pictures of Montauk, it's basically a little tiny Air Force base with barracks and a giant radar dish. And it's an Air Force base without an actual landing strip. Like, it's actually owned by the Navy. They just call it an Air Force base because people are fucking stupid. And and so it's basically a giant radar dish where they sift in hundreds of people. They bring hundreds of people in, and they just dose them with radar just to see what happens. And they end up making crowds of 200 people, like laughing and crying and just shifting them. But then
they're bringing in massive amounts of people, not just one.
Large people. It's about mass population sort of control. But what they end up finding out is everyone who's working there is sort of being fried from the inside. Like, lots of guys are dying, and then they do autopsies, and their kidneys are totally cooked or whatever. And then that switches from sort of frequency control into like using the mind as a teleportation device. Like, at some point it seems like they get fallen technology, or technology they don't really understand how it works, but they know how to use it. So, and that's when they begin trying to find they try to find psychics who are like, powerful. Again, Duncan Cameron, his brother, is apparently a very, very powerful psychic, right? Okay. And so they begin doing projects where they would like try to have him think of a book that he read yesterday and have it appear today. Like sort of weird things like that. And they would never hold, like they say that as soon as he stopped thinking about it, it would disappear in a sense or whatever, right? And it was not until they found out the sort of area between when you have an orgasm where your subconscious and conscious sort of merge as one or are the same thing, that they focus on that, and when they lock a person into that state, like basically they can do anything. They open giant portals, send hundreds of people through. They're like
they can make cum come out of the end of their dick for 10 minutes.
Yeah, and for forever. I'm sure you're like locked in that.
Just find the guys, find little kids with the biggest balls and do weird experiments on them.
It's like, I want you to come right up to orgasm and those hold it.
Yeah, and these are the Montauk Boys. This is one of the
crazy
other songs.
Fuckers.
Yeah, so then the Montauk Boys are where they're like, they find out that children produce a lot of like emotional energy, so what they would do is like put them in a room and then show them like murder videos and get them all fucking scared, and these 4 sort of beams would absorb that energy, and they would take that frequency and store it in the computer to be used later on people, because the idea was to, like, if you could impart that onto a person in war, like the idea, Tesla's a big idea was that you would make everyone drop their guns, and that was just what everyone would do, right? So they just, of course, perverted that, as they do with any sort of technology. They just take it to the deepest extremes,
the more evil side.
Because they're actually like, if it doesn't matter what you call it, but they're like real Satanists.
Yes, yeah, like
real,
like into evil. They're into the evil aspect of
like
reality.
Aleister Crowley was a pussy, type shit.
Yeah.
I think you should cut
not,
to
not a metal, not a Slayer Satanist.
Yeah,
right.
Not a fingernails out a little bit. Shave his head and shit.
Not no doubt.
You should cut to the Ed Cameron becoming Bielek, though.
Yeah, so at one point, they decide that the information that Edward Cameron has is like far too great. Like they don't want to necessarily kill him, but because they can't, because he's sort of out of the time loop, and they say that if they kill him out of the time loop, it will ruin whatever's going on with time.
He's fucking a Highlander.
Yeah. So they try to they do these things sort of like physical transgression. So they take his consciousness and transmute him into like a baby boy, which ends up being...
doesn't he say that they actually reverse age him?
Yeah,
they don't put him into a new... That's why when he gets old again, people recognize him. They're old, but he's back to the age that he was when the Philadelphia experiment happened, and people are actually recognizing him.
Well, no, they recognize
he looks
him.
like himself.
No, they
again.
recognize him because because at the time at Montauk, when they physically age regress him, he's working at Montauk as Al Bielek and Edward Cameron. So people are remembering him from being at the Montauk projects and being the sort of, because on the Montauk project he was like a slave commander, like he commanded the projects of what would happen.
Right, but don't they like recognize him because he looks like...
No, they recognize him because he's the guy who was like telling them what to do, right? Mm-hmm. Not so much, they just put his mind in Al Bielek's body, and they're using him simultaneously. Same as they do this Stuart Swerdlow guy, where he says to him, they would go back in time and pick him up and make him work 8 hours, and then put him back in time and pick him up and make him work 8 hours. So they had like this army of people who were continuously working all the time. And then that's when he started talking about the Montauk Boys, where they start programming like millions of people at the exact same time, right? Which ends up being
wild
sort
that
of
they're
like
programming, like that's the first time, like brainwashing or like programming has kind of made any sense.
Yeah.
Is that if they're recording the frequencies, and then projecting that, all of a sudden it's like, oh, that's what they're like. It's that fucking easy.
Yeah, and
like,
and I think it changed.
I'm sure it's not easy.
Yeah, and I think it changed too, because that's what they find out. If you start blasting people with frequency, you kind of start frying them. And I'm pretty sure when War of the Worlds happened on the radio, they were like, oh, we don't have to fucking blast people with frequency, we just have to tell them that something's happening and they'll believe it, right? Like people believed the world was ending due to a radio play in the 40s, right?
Yeah.
And it switched, and same as like with music, like with music, as soon as the Beatles came around and they're like, oh, all you need is 4 guys and this like easy arrangement of music and you'll drive people wild. Like music took this huge turn to
whole
pop
thing.
music, right? And it doesn't mean pop and popular, it means in soda pop, like it's fucking bad for you, you know?
Well, and Elvis.
Yeah, and everything. And that's the thing, is like no longer is it about having to like just thinking about the words like regularly scheduled programming.
Yeah,
Like,
totally.
we
Like,
now return you to the time you sit in front of the TV and get programmed all
By
freaking day
us.
because they know now it doesn't have to be a radio signal, it just has to be images or just has to be an emotional response is all they need to draw out of you to sort of program you a little bit, right?
yeah, they're just like sociology masters.
Yeah, of course.
And
they know absolutely everything about you,
apply
how
it
your
to-
mind works, how your body works. They know everything about how to control you.
and they
easily.
hide that technology.
Yeah.
That's the inference.
Yeah,
man.
of course,
They know all
because-
this fucking Star Trek shit, and
We could be like Star Trek, like going through space, being
Yeah.
great things, but obviously not, right? Like we
there's
decided
no money in it.
No, we decided to
There's
murder,
like,
murder the planet for
Yeah, Satanist.
for
But
imaginary money.
yeah, okay, sorry. Continue.
Yeah, well, and that's basically what that whole first EP is about, is sort of the frequency project. So the Philadelphia experiment, Al Bielek's life. I really think the time travel thing's really interesting because it's just good sci-fi, and it only.
Yeah.
But like when you listen to it, like if you were to listen to the whole thing, which is like hours and hours and hours of conversation, it's pretty logical though. Like to cut it down into a song that's like 10 minutes long is very, very hard to do. But to hear all, like, he's not like a dumb guy. He's not just some guy spouting off. He knows a lot of shit about a lot of shit.
Yeah,
right?
I'll even say, like, I'm not a conspiracy guy at all, and I did a lot of the listening through the audio clips as well, just to sort of narrow it down.
Yeah.
And I mean, he's telling quite a story, and they're so smart. Like, if it was just a crazy dude, then you'd be like, oh, well, he doesn't know what he's talking about. But they're like respected. Well, at least they were until their names were besmirched or whatever.
Yeah.
But they're
Like
really,
Tesla.
they're really, So it's hard to think. And if they're faking it, man, they got their facts right. And he's so good. Like both Bielek and Phil Schneider are just like, they're so good with dates. Especially Bielek, he's really good.
Yeah.
Like people will bring something up, like mention one of his old stories that he was talking about, and he'll like correct them on the dates or the facts. Like if they elaborated it, they all got together and they came up with quite the plot, and they're all sticking to the facts pretty good.
Yeah.
I don't really hold retain the information as well as Nate does, but listening to it was all very interesting, man.
No, that is very interesting. A similar sort of thing. I just recently got into this Philly. There, he put a fucking a Kennedy link up,
Oh yeah,
and Nancy and I watched it.
the Joel George Bush deal.
Dude,
Yeah.
like it's the same thing. It's like it's not the guy that made the fucking video is probably retarded, but other people like Nova. Did like special. Everybody, it's been a conspiracy thing since fucking
It happened.
second one.
Yeah.
So this guy was just putting all these documentaries together and painting that fucking picture where you're like, holy fuck, where were those guys that day?
Yeah.
They're the only guys in the world that can't remember where they were. You know, it's like, so to me right away, like, everybody wants to talk about Occupy movements and, like we tried to do something and all this shit. But until that gets rectified, there's no...
Yeah.
There's, like, we're fucked. Like, the lizard people are fucking running the world. There's just... We're just fucked. There's no fucking recourse on this unless you go all Vlad the Impaler on, like, all these fucking families and
I agree.
interests and you're like, okay, if America did that, if America was like, okay, off with their heads, all the fucking, whatever families, all the families, we, go look at the White House. They're on the fucking poles of the White House. Like, they're just there right now. Sorry, world.
Yeah.
We, the people, didn't want this shit. We got hijacked by a motherfucker. Like, they basically have to fucking do that, or...
I don't even think that's even a possibility, man. I think people today we're so programmed, so absolutely programmed. Like,
but I grew up in America, and here's why I think it's a possibility: because the people are so far separated from the government, which anybody from outside of America hears about is their shitty government. So, like, They really are. Like you wonder why people have guns there? It's because the forefathers were like, when these assholes take over the government, like, you should be allowed to have a gun so they can't just steal your fucking land and all this shit. Like, they get the inference, you know what I mean? Like, I've said this before on the podcast, I think. I don't know if I've published it, but it's like, my grandma, man, she's no conspiracy theorist, but she's like, when that happened, you know, we knew.
Yeah.
Like, it was just like war and back and war, again, more war. Like, fuck.
Yeah, perpetual war, man.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the money machine. That's what.
So check out the Arcane Front and look up Kennedy. That's where the good video was, because it was a longer one. And stuff.
Well, there's interesting stuff about that too. Like, remember Jesse Ventura, the senator in the House? He had his own sort of conspiracy show, right? And they did the Lincoln thing, and he did from shooting
Lincoln or Kennedy?
Or Kennedy, sorry, from doing what's the guy's name who did the shooting?
Oswald.
So they do, like, Lee Harvey Oswald fires off something
Allegedly.
like 3 shots in something like 4.5 seconds or something like that, right? Where Jesse Ventura goes up there and he does it faster. He shoots the 3 shots off faster than anyone has ever tried ever. He has the world record in that, but it's still not as fast as Lee Harvey Oswald fired off these sort of 3 bullets.
Well, that's what I loved about this video is they're like, we counted 14. You know, you're like, holy fuck, like. And then they get into the whole, like, they mutilated his body.
Oh, crazy.
Like, they fucking, there's that one video of him, and you can see they did surgery on his fucking body to make it not look like there was a fucking bullet hole right here. That his press secretary was like, yeah, you got one right here, like, pointing right to the spot.
Yeah.
Like, that's the first thing he tells the media, right? And then, you know, like, the whole back of his fucking head's blown out. Like that famous autopsy picture.
Yeah.
If you look at that, that's when they illegally flew him to Bethesda, Maryland. He was supposed to have it done in Dallas. That's what the law said.
Yeah.
You know, you just you're like, and then they go, who could do this? Like, this isn't fucking, you know, Che Guevara couldn't have done, Castro couldn't have fucking done that.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, and you can see they did surgery to hide a fucking bullet hole. There's like traumatized fucking tissue. You know, it's fucked up.
Yeah, well, the whole video too, like the Zapruder film, it looks
in the air
like,
or something.
It looks like to me like it happens from like inside his head. Like when that big mound comes off his head, it's like it doesn't look like an exit wound. It looks like an explosion almost. You know what I mean? Like all of it is weird. Like,
isn't it supposed to be one of those bullets that actually like bullet. That do like fragments?
Mercury bullets,
which is also the type of gun that Lee Harvey Oswald has. Doesn't do that because it's more like a rifle. So
it's a fucking old shitty Italian fucking bolt action rifle.
Not like not like an exploding shell. Like, but that's why what I heard was like the CIA guy that did it because their guns are loaded with those. But I mean, that's old thinking, not this. Well, I don't know enough about it. I apologize. I shouldn't have talked.
Everybody should look this up. It's on the Arcane Front. Watch it. It's like an hour and a half long. It's brutal because they take all the backstory. Like, once you get it, you're like, oh, George Bush's dad funded the Nazis, you know, and was like, they can prove it all through paperwork. It's all proven through registered fucking paperwork.
Yeah. And financial documents too. There's lots of financial documents going.
J. Edgar Hoover went after Prescott Bush.
Yeah.
That was like the first thing he did when he got in the FBI, was tracking down Nazi money. And he proved that he was working with a Nazi and they owned a bank. Yeah. And during fucking wartime. Yeah. And he got in shit for it. You know, like, it's all proven shit. Yeah. So this is 1943. Yeah. You know, and you're like, holy fuck. Like, it goes back that far, and then, oh my God, it's just fucked. Everything's fucked.
Yeah, everything is fucked. I agree.
Everything's fucked. I think that's what everybody does, is they're like, everything's fucked. I don't want to think about it.
Yeah, that's what I do, man.
I don't want to deal with it. Everything's fucked.
Yeah.
That would be work.
What is fucking thinking about it really get you, though? You know, like, that's what I feel like. And I know that's not this to say that one person couldn't, change things. But I just I'm concentrated on my life and my little business and my little band, and I don't really have time to get upset because the fucking world might end in 2012. I just don't care.
Yeah,
you know?
No, fair enough. I'm not upset. I mean, it's just, I don't know. I have, it kind of affected my family. because my uncles were in NAM and it fucked them up, and
Yeah.
you know, it's fucking bullshit, man.
Yeah.
To be, it was high. Like, it's like when they started that fucking country, they're like, the boat after us, that the fuckers are right behind us.
Yeah.
You know, like we just got this out today. Like, boom, you know, Pledge Allegiance, you know, Constitution. But, you know, they knew that these fucks were right behind them, ready to, you know, do what they were doing in Europe, the war machine.
Yeah,
And
well,
fucking-
that's
it's
even
just-
sort of what Illuminated Minerva comes from like the 1776 Bavarian Illuminati Club handbook, where this guy named Adam Weishaupt comes from Britain, and he's either like...
What's his name again?
Adam
Because-
Weishaupt.
Yeah, oh, that's how you say
Weishaupt.
Weishaupt.
And
Okay.
he's may or may not be George Washington,
They
right?
say that he
Yeah.
fucking George Washington died just like Paul McCartney.
Yeah.
George Washington fucking died in some battle, and this asshole that started the Illuminati, German Bavarian Illuminati,
Yeah.
fucking took his spot. Because
Yeah,
how the fuck would they know back then?
Yeah, well, and that's
It's
the
all
thing too.
paintings.
Yeah, it's all paintings, exactly.
It's not
and the thing is
internet,
too is
fuck.
like the Illuminati back then are just all the guys with businesses. They're all the guys who have all the business and all the intelligence. So they're working outside the government, like all sort of corporations do, even to this day. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? They just sort of fund the government, and the government's put in place, and then the government chooses to pay whoever funded them in whichever way. You know what I mean? And
Well,
so
you gotta think, 1776, we're coming out of the feudal,
yeah,
like Middle Ages feudal
We're, like,
system
barely
where
able
we
to
were
cross the
slaves.
ocean.
Fuck. Sorry?
we're just like barely able to cross the ocean at this point.
Barely, yeah, totally.
But in that handbook, one of the first thing that when they do there, so there already is sort of secret societies like Freemasons and the White Knight Templars and all these other people in America. They decide that they want to sort of house them all in this sort of new Illuminati club, or the Illuminatus Majoris, as they wanted to call it in America, like as if they were above the people who were that group in Britain. And the first step you take is becoming an Illuminated Minerval. So when I was in my 20s or whatever, really, really into this stuff, I just sort of thought of it as like a collective. Like, what's like a collective? Like, we're all sort of part of this machine regardless, you know what I mean? So that's where Illuminated Minerva comes from, is that we are all part of the system. As much as you think that you're like tree hugging hippie and you're not doing anything about it, like, you're still a part of it
You
regardless.
can't not.
Yeah, you can't not be a part of it, exactly.
But that's always been the inference with them, is that, like, well, and more so like Freemasonry.
Yeah.
Like, not to get off the point, but they used to hide technology.
Yeah.
And that technology was math,
yeah.
you know, like writing,
Equations.
reading, writing, and arithmetic.
Yeah.
Was basically the technology they were hiding
Yeah.
before. Oh, now we have that. Yay.
The
you know?
3 R's, as they call them, even though
Ran around arithmetic. But, you know, to me, that's their thinking. Is like, we're not going to give everybody this crazy shit.
Well, and would you...
We have to control
Yeah,
this
and would you,
suppress it
I
so
mean,
we
like-
can make money out.
Yeah. Yeah, or is it like you don't also at the same time don't want it to go in the wrong person's hands? Like, I think the Illuminati was two different things at one point. I think one point it was people with the technology and the knowledge, and then it was sort of stolen and hijacked and was intentionally supposed to be for everyone, but then wasn't. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it was then...
When it came to America.
When it came to America, and that's when it all becomes backwards. Like, the all-seeing eye is like just the idea for your pineal gland, which comes from the eye of Horus, which is what the Egyptians discovered. It was like they cut the brain in half. They saw that inside there is like an eye-shaped deal, your pineal gland, and they understood that it is what gave you the three-dimensional vision. So when you
Yeah.
see that inside, except when it came to America, they decided to take that and place it above a sort of structure which they've built. And remember, there's like a massive gap between the capstone and
Yeah,
the
yeah.
structure, and that's how far up they sit. They're not people with names and shit like that.
Yeah.
They're like, they're not on a book. They're not on anything.
Yeah, they're
way-
sitting up there going, these fucking tards can vote for whoever the
Yeah.
fuck they want. We don't give a fuck. They
Yeah.
can call it democracy. Call it demonocracy.
Yeah,
call
yeah.
it fucking... Call
Yeah.
it whatever you want.
And they have everything too. Like, they
Hate
have
the communists. You
Yeah.
know, like, fuck. You know, they can just say it's just
Yeah.
like random racist slurs, you know?
Well,
They
yeah.
Just throw it out into the consciousness. Like, fuck.
Yeah, and they don't, and there's no concern, like, there's no concern for us, like, as individuals. Like, no politician cares about you. Nobody cares about you, and that's why they want to destroy having friends and having
A family.
A family.
They wanted
and
to destroy the
want
family
everything.
structure,
Like,
which is
now
fucked.
you have 500 friends on Facebook who you never ever see in your life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? As opposed to have like 30 really good friends. Like I got a real good core of buddies who I've had for almost 30 years, right? And some people don't have any friends at all except for people they know on the internet, right? Which is just a false version of life. Like people give up your actual life to live in a world that doesn't even exist. You know what I mean? It's a non-working deal. And that's
just
the
be
concern.
gone tomorrow. No problem.
Yeah, and people would lose their marbles because all of a sudden you wouldn't have the structure that gave you your life. You know what happens? Well, I kind of check my email and.
But it's funny. It's like it's playing off of like what my whole technology rant that I just went on there. I was trying to get to that I just now realized was that the technology is the collective consciousness. They don't want people to know that, like, man, like, and I know it's no Tony Robbins bullshit, but if you fucking, if we just understood that we are like giant antennas and shit.
Yeah.
And if you're like walking around pissed off and you're walking around like all shitty and just in this, you know, because you hate your life and you hate the world and you hate everything, like it's affecting the whole, there's a whole thing that we can't see and we don't know about.
Yeah.
That it's affecting in a shitty fucking way. And I think they're really manipulating that.
Oh, of course.
Because they know how to, it's not even like, it's like not even some, I mean, I'm sure they have some ancient fucking book that nobody has that tells them how to work it good. Like Hermetic philosophy or some nuts shit, right? I read a book about Hermetic philosophy. It's nuts because they go off this concept of the all.
Yeah.
That's the big basis behind all that shit. This predates fucking Greek people.
Yeah.
Like, holy fuck, you know? So, if we all just realize we're a part of the all, and we realize that you can just put into the all, and then, you know, all of a sudden you got this, like, Tesla shit where it's like they're, like, making free fucking energy, you know, like, not to say that fringe word, like, free energy, but... Like, Tesla proved you put 12 fucking towers all around the world and everybody has free fucking energy.
Yeah,
like,
man. And
they did it before. It was called the pyramids.
Yeah.
You know, you're like...
Yeah.
Really?
And he did it in a way where he ran off the system, as opposed to now our energy system is like we decide to make our own sort of pathways. Like we don't work with the natural function of the planet. We go, we're going to build our own towers, and it's going to emit its own sort of energy. And regardless, and this is what happens with birds and bees. Why birds and bees are dying off like crazy, because they're a huge part of the natural frequency of the planet. And when you interject our own, like, it's basically like there's tons of roadways that everything's running on, and we made our own road right through it without thinking about what it's going to do or even caring. I'm sure we didn't care. We're just like, this makes money, so let's build it.
You know, again, it's like this giant fucking sociology experiment that they're pulling off. They're like, you know, path of least resistance. You know, nobody wants to, you know, like, not to go on a rant about the pyramids, but they think that fucking there was all these slaves and shit. Like, whoa, settle down. Just because they said there was slaves in Egypt in the Bible, doesn't mean that Egypt had fucking slaves the whole time. Like,
I bet we found.
I would go work on a giant pyramid for free.
Yeah.
I would go work on a giant pyramid for free if it gave me free energy for the rest of my family's lineage.
Yeah, right.
You know, I'd be like, I'm there. Fuck, you want me to cut some shit? You just tell me. Let's go. Like, fuck. You know, I don't see the whole, like, anyways. Like,
that's the artificial.
bird person enslaved people. You know, you're like, whoa, settle down. It's a pictograph.
Go on. That's why I believe we found another thing that we found, man. It's just it was there in a jungle, because that's what it was at the time. And and the guy who was leading the pack found the Sphinx, put the hat on like the Sphinx, and was like, I'm that guy. And they went in there and were like, this is how.
But by that time, that's the inference, is that, like, the biblical, what we know as Egypt was like, no, this is these dicks where you know, it was a jungle 21,000 BC. Egypt was a jungle, right? In 2000 BC, it had been a desert for 5,000 fucking years already. And the Sphinx was a lion head buried up to its neck. And some fucking asshole that didn't build the pyramids put his fucking face on it. Like, you know, and then walking around, I'm the coolest. And, you know, cut this guy out and put my name in there.
Totally.
And it's ridiculous.
Well, the whole thing, too, is like...
There's no way that happened only 5,000 or 6,000 years ago. They say is like the most it could have been. Like 4,000 BC is like... It's like, holy fuck. Like, can we get Pat Robertson out of Egypt? and can we just like not have religious fundamentalism in Egypt and look at it with science? Because if you really look at that whole system, it's a system. They were using the negative energy was coming from the Nile tributary, and it was creating energy. There was the pyramids were encapsulated in marble.
Yeah,
and
marble
gold.
and gold taps. Yeah,
They
gold
figured
caps.
the fucking whatever the Ark of the Covenant was in the middle. There was never a body in the middle, and then boom, you've got
and Ark of the Covenant is supposed to be like a uranium rod or whatever. Like the people who took it around the Earth afterwards kept dying from like radiation exposure.
Really?
Yeah. So they think that it's actually in where do they think that it is now? It's in some little village in
Ethiopia.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, little.
And those guys keep dying.
Yeah, because it's like
those priests keep dying. Yeah,
little uranium rod, a super power source of energy, obviously. And Earth was probably a way different place at that time. Like Earth has grown massively over the years. Like to think that Earth is sort of this one giant shape with land on one side and water on the other is like such an old way of thinking. If the universe expands, everything in the universe expands. So Earth was more like a giant piece of land with little tiny lakes, and as it grew, became broken parts of land with giant lakes in between them, which is eventually now, it's sort of what killed the dinosaurs. Dinosaurs had to travel around the world to get to their food, and as it broke apart, they could no longer do that. Reptiles stayed the same because they stayed around the equator. Like, it's a way
interesting.
More, it's called, Neil Adams does it, a comic book artist, called the theory of constant creation, which is this sort of older idea by this Conan guy. I can't remember his last name. But it's done on the idea that the Earth is sort of like giant spinning spheres that grow as everything grows, you know? I don't know.
That was cool, though. I remember listening to the constant creation thing, too. He was talking about how they think that all the, what's that, Pangea? Where all
Pangea,
yeah,
totally,
but he's talking about, like, if you link them up on the other side, they all align, too. So it's more like it wasn't that the Earth was on, like you're saying, on one side and separated, that it was the same. It's just it's gotten bigger and more separated.
Yeah.
So the land masses have essentially almost stayed the same, but the planet's gotten bigger areas of water in between. Actually, everything that he said was cool. He was talking about how dinosaurs maybe actually weren't even that big, but the Earth has gotten so big that the fossils look huge now. And that if a T-Rex was really that big, its body couldn't even support the weight of its own head.
Yeah. Well, they know that
on today's gravity.
The Earth was bigger or smaller?
Smaller, and has gotten bigger. And that so the fossils are actually bigger now than they were at the time. Gravity would have been less on a smaller planet. So that in today's settings, the T-Rex couldn't even walk around on Earth.
And they've done that too in computer models. Like it's why like even dinosaurs don't really look like dinosaurs. Dinosaurs more look like birds. They had like feathers.
Well, that's what I mean. They could all be birds.
Yeah.
They could all be birds, and nobody would know.
Well, and you wouldn't say if you looked at an ostrich and it was a featherless ostrich, like its legs look like giant scaled legs, right? And I mean, how much can you know? How much can you know from just bones? Like, there's a huge aspect into the consciousness of a creature. Like, you wouldn't know from seeing dolphin bones that they could like sort of telepathy with each other, you know, and that they gave each other names, or that they could like have a formal language between each other when they don't know when they don't speak the same sort of dolphin language, you know what I mean? Like, there's the sort of idea that like we can understand life through fossils is sort of like a little bit ridiculous, because if you just saw people's bones, you wouldn't understand that we had the capacity to like make airplanes and travel out into space.
Yeah.
And just because your brain size appears to be a certain way doesn't relate to like how much consciousness you have. Like dolphin's brain is about the same size of ours, but they can fucking mentally talk to each other and have a communal language and stuff like that, right?
That's a good point too, though, because isn't a shark just basically jaw? Like they don't have any other bones anyway, do they? So if you saw that, what would you imagine? Imagine you found the fossil of a shark; it was just jaws. What would you think? There was just like a little Pac-Man monster or something, you know? Like, how would you imagine the entire structure?
Yeah. And not to like discredit and say that there's nothing to it, but I mean, it's kind of foolish to think that that's all that you would get all of it from that. Like, if you found the chassis of a Lamborghini, you wouldn't probably understand that it was like the raddest car that was ever made.
Yeah, like they could be.
That's a Countach, by the way.
Yeah, a Countach. Yeah.
they could be fucking furry, really.
Yeah.
I mean, they could have like walked around in a halo of like in an egg sack.
Yeah.
we wouldn't know. You know what I mean? There's no like.
There's huge gaps. Like even now they think that we've only found maybe like 1/10 of 1% of all the animal life, and that's including all the stuff that we've discovered now. So a lot of it's been buried, and we've burned it up in our cars, and so we'll never ever know. Like you'll never ever know the entirety of the planet. It's almost foolish to constantly go back to it and think that we'll find ourselves because we'll find the missing link, and then we'll all of a sudden be best friends and there'll be no more wars and shit like that. Like but that won't happen.
Not in our lifetime.
No, and I don't like. Problem is now is that
Didn't it happen in Star Trek though? Like
Yeah,
before
well,
they
Star
went
Trek's
out.
the best, man. That's,
Didn't it? Wasn't it? But that's why it took like. That's why it took like a while, right? Because that's why the timeline's so far ahead, because we got to figure this shit out. But
Yeah.
you can't be exporting fucking being a dick
yeah.
out to the rest of the fucking.
No. And that's the same thing with aliens too. Is like I think it's very funny that a lot of modern scientists are like, let's not try to engage in any sort of aliens. Like if you're like able to live long enough to be on the same timeline as us, that'd be amazing for one. And then most likely is that if you're a biological thing, you can't go into space. Space is like a very, very harsh atmosphere, and what they would do, like what we do, is just send our machines out there, which is a much more logical thing to do, because you'll probably find out if you could ever approach the speed of light, if you were a thing, you would just fucking turn into pure energy and disappear, right?
Which what the Greys are supposed to be too, right?
Yeah.
Like they're just supposed to be machines.
Like they're just silica brains with like gelatinous nano outside body. If even like I think
Wow.
Roswell wasn't even aliens in it. I think a artificially intelligent machine crashed and they couldn't wrap their heads around it. Like they couldn't be like, how is something not piloting this machine, you know what I mean? Because we pilot ours. There weren't computers and shit in 1947, So when I think the idea came is when people started seeing these things, it was much easier to tell people that, it's probably being much easier for people to buy into that it's like a pilot piloting this ship instead of like a completely conscious,
like a drone.
machine, right? And then
a biological machine.
Yeah. You would just attract everyone from understanding what they really are right off the bat. You know what I mean? I mean, that's much more likely. Like, if we were to explore space, we're not...
Here we go. Lizard people.
All right.
Give me the lizard people.
Well, man...
Okay, I'm cracking a beer.
I'm not 100...
Actually, hold on.
Okay.
I gotta have a leak.
Okay.
Then lizard people.
Okay, I'm down.
Lizard people.
All right, okay. Like I was going to say there, I'm not like 100% sure, although I would say that, reptilian life and dinosaur life had sort of hundreds of millions of years to evolve, as opposed to us having, say, like 120,000 or 400,000.
Oh, what? 6,000.
Yeah, or 6,000, but if there was such a thing, I would say, maybe if at the same time sort of there's Martian life at the exact same time, and they have technology, I could see how you would, if there was a sort of almost sentient life on Earth, you could sort of assist in their growth, maybe, you know what I mean? And if there was shape-shifting, then that'd be much more of a technological achievement as a sort of a biological achievement. And I think a lot of that comes from too, when we don't mostly see people who are wholly evil, like, and in the acts of being, like as you're saying, sort of pure Satanists, right? And so if you are a person under duress in a room full of people who are trying to be wholly evil, I could see how a person would look not like a person. Like when people make weird faces when they cry and shit, like you're like, that's what you look like. I can see how a person,
Your O face.
yeah, you look weird. And I could see how that could be transcribed as not looking normal,
So to speak.
you know what I mean? But at the same time, there very well could be, like, I wouldn't doubt it if there was sort of a supreme reptilian life at some point on Earth.
You think they're at the top?
And if so,
Like
what does their O face look like? What's the lizards?
They lay eggs.
Yeah, so there is no...
Yeah.
I really think it's, man...
That's why
I
they
think
hate
it's-
people so much.
Yeah.
That's why they're enslaving us
Oh,
to
they
make
lay
war, right?
They lay the eggs, but do they still have sex to make the egg, or what?
I don't
You know what I
think
mean?
so. They jerk off in the water or something.
Well, we all do that. Call him a shower, bro.
That's the reptilian brain.
Yeah. No, I don't know, man. I personally think it's more machines, man. I think machines more run us than alien
Crystalline
life.
entities.
Yeah, it's much more logical. Like, I really don't think that we can travel through space, and I really think once we start sending people to Mars and they have to live in space for like 200 days, people are going to lose their marbles. And
We instantly start deteriorating in space.
of course, and that's
Like just floating at
Yeah.
1 mile per hour.
yeah.
You know, like
It's not like- I think
our
that's sort of-
bone structure starts fucking up, and our muscles
Just not being
leave.
in gravity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What if there is like artificial gravity? Does it still work the same?
Well, and this is what I
apparently
think.
they have fucking warp drive now. It's getting crazy. Like apparently, no
Yeah,
shit,
I've read that too,
NASA
yeah.
is like there's the thing with just like they said in Star Trek where it's you speed it up here and you slow it down here. And
Is there a
it's
religion where like Star Trek is real?
Did you know this? If you've listened to all
Well-
the podcasts, you might know this. I am a reverend.
Well, I heard that. I listened to
The Church
to
of the
one-
Latter-day
first
Dude?
one. Yeah, right. But I mean,
sorry.
like, is there anyone where let's say they actually believe, like L. Ron Hubbard or whatever, and the Scientologists? That's from a fake story, right?
yeah.
So why couldn't
That
people
story
believe?
is fucked.
Yeah. Why couldn't people believe that Star Trek is actually like mapped out and it's not fake? It's actually like the future, and I mean that's just as real, or at least a lot more believable from what you guys are.
Well, I mean,
saying about it.
you know, I've never been this far down the rabbit hole, but when, like, I have been on the internet, but not down this one.
Yeah.
When you go down it, I mean, anything's fucking possible when you're talking about this
Yeah.
stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like, the inference
I'm
is that,
actually the
inference is that
reincarnation of
Illuminati
Leonard
puts
Nimoy.
it out.
Leonard Nimoy.
The Illuminati puts it out there
Yeah.
to discredit you, so that you're like, quit watching so many fucking movies.
Yeah.
There's no dudes
Right.
that are in a fraternity,
Well-
Yale, that fucking jerk off in coffins
Yeah.
and have Geronimo's skull and crossbones in their fucking tomb.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that doesn't
that's
happen.
right.
Come on.
Yeah, make it such
Even
a
though they say
make
that
it
it
such
happens.
a Hollywood idea, no one would ever believe it could be
Yeah,
real.
right.
Yeah.
Brothers Under the Skin and all this fucking creepy ass shit.
Yeah.
Well, I
That's
do
been going on since since
Forever. Man.
18. That one is like whenever they built Yale, which was like 18
Yeah.
fucking 50 something.
Yeah.
You know, like that shit. That's real. Like,
Yeah. That's.
and they admit it. Even George Bush. Like, you can fucking like just Google George Bush skull. Like, oh, it's a secret.
yeah.
Yeah, I was in it. It was a secret. You know, like they don't. John Kerry was in it. Blah blah
Yeah.
blah. Like all that shit. You know, that's so 2004.
Yeah. It's like. Yeah. It is.
But I mean, it is believable because you would just be, a boys' club, and you would be just like getting your buddies in it. Why wouldn't you? Why
You know
would
what the
trust
crystalline
people?
entity is? The internet.
Yeah.
It's been here the whole time.
Yeah.
Because when I got the internet, like we were talking about before the podcast, kind of the first, I mean, when I got the internet in 8th grade, or 7th, or what, somewhere around there, it was like the first thing I started Googling was Atlantis and all this wild shit. Like, it was like the information superhighway and all this shit. And it was getting information that you couldn't even get, like even with fucking Napster and all that shit.
Yeah.
I was downloading all these bootlegs you couldn't get
Yeah.
and stuff. It wasn't about stealing music. It was about stealing music I couldn't get.
Yeah.
So if they don't sell it at the fucking store, I mean, yeah, I'm going
Right.
to burn the fucking CD and listen to it. So, yeah, like it was like
But
getting
now,
to
like,
Atlantis.
the free movies, I'm not complaining,
Oh.
right? Or don't say that. I mean, I
Well-
don't do that.
Just don't piss off the gay mafia. That's another thing I've heard on the internet is just don't piss off the gay mafia. So movies are good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Movies are good and they should be expensive, and the music industry can suck it though.
Yeah.
They're not. That's fucking bullshit. I totally digressed off of what I was talking about.
I changed
there.
it.
I
Somewhat purposefully, but no.
no, fair enough. I had a point, but well, hey, what do you get? This is free. This podcast is free. Heard a couple commercials, and there you go.
Yeah.
We were talking about lizard people. So, do you think lizard people are the ultimate,
No.
or is it the crystalline structure?
I still think that it's people. Like I still think that we're sort of like not naturally from Earth. I definitely think that because everything is shrinking because Earth is growing and that we continue to get larger at like an insane rate, I think that we are definitely a pre-selected being to honestly just murder this planet. Or if it's somehow sort of an experiment where it's like, could you give a sentient being with the potential to have everything, would they murder themselves or would they grow into super conscious beings? And that's what I think about traveling through outer space is like sort of it's like I bet we found out at some point when we sort of had fallen technology that once we started leaving here that we couldn't. And the big joke is that now we just try to make people think about leaving Earth. All it's about now is like looking at Earth-like planets and leaving here, and you're going to find out that you can't even. And then you're going to be so pissed off that we spent all this time destroying it because this is the only spaceship that we have, right? This is it. And the idea that we can just fly into space and land on a new planet and just be people is sort of like a totally ridiculous thing and very big brainwashing. That's why
distracts us from what we're really doing.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, what we're supposed to do. Like, I agree with you. This whole like they're feeding it.
Cycle.
Well, they're trying to groom us, like he says, like machines, where they can just put this input and we give the expected output.
Yeah.
You know, like fucking all these fucking intelligence agencies can make ISIS, and then we're all scared to fuck, like, or whatever. You know, like they're manipulating. Like, I really do believe, you know,
I like
again,
one
of those
afraid,
technologies.
That's like, that's my
Fear
favorite
fucks.
fuck. Fear fuck? Yeah, man, for sure. You gotta
Like
be,
like in
you gotta be
Callaway
scared.
Park on a ride or some shit.
Oh,
That'd be
yeah,
scary.
before the drop, dude.
Yeah, again, it feels like you're about to blow your load, right?
Right?
You're
Yeah.
just like, whoa!
That's what I'm talking
fuck.
about, man. That in a fuck? For sure.
I was watching Ancient Aliens.
Yeah.
And the new season.
Yeah.
And the first episode of the new season had a very interesting implication, and, you know, like all justified on the show about how the reason Mars has no atmosphere anymore and all this stuff is it got fucking hit by an asteroid, and these, like, people from the Ancient Aliens were fucking from Mars.
Yeah.
And all, like the, what's their names?
Nephilim or whatever?
Well, Nephilim, but
The Anunnaki.
Anunnaki, but then what was the ones in Iraq there that were the... Well, yeah, they were all related to them, but that first Sumerians.
Yeah.
The Sumerians were like direct descendants, and then fucking Atlantis. Like, these people were all basically fucking aliens, and then they had to come here from Mars, like 15,000, 20,000 years ago. But then what happened? That's what I don't get. Like, what the fuck? Where was the fucking disconnect? Where we're like ancient, you know, like, dude, the fucking body of the Sphinx is 20,000 years old.
Yeah.
Like, when they unburied it in the last 100 years.
Yeah.
Like, that thing was up to its neck for the last fucking 5, 6, 7, 8,000 years. I mean, Napoleon saw it, you know, that famous painting with it's up to its fucking neck. Like, and you can see it from the sky. The head's way smaller. They fucking cut it down into
It
some
even has
asshole.
like I've seen things like they have like let's say like what the fuck's it called? Like a CNC
Spiral?
machine type marks on it. Like on the nose it has like
Tool markings.
Tool marks, but like mechanized tool markings, not like say hand carved tool markings.
Right, interesting.
And there's all, you know, these sort of like extra rooms that are built under the paws of the Sphinx.
Right, the Hall of Records.
Yeah. Yeah.
Elrond. Yeah, the water erosion on the body is the most fucked up thing, because it's like, well, when's the last time it rained in Egypt?
Yeah.
They figure 10,500 BC.
Yeah.
Like, that's the date they put to it, because it was a lion, Leo, summer solstice, and the fucking, you know, like, that was significant. Maybe that's when they fucking landed or something. Who the fuck knows?
Yeah, well, just when somebody was like, that's mine. I call it callsies.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, we could be like
shotgun Sphinx.
like 10,500 BC could be the last asshole that took it over. I mean, that shit could be 100,000 years old. Nobody. Have you heard about the Crimean pyramids?
No, man.
Oh wow! Can you Google that, please? It's in Crimea, like a year before all this bullshit happened, which it was Ukrainian territory, but the Russians are there now. The Russians are literally standing on top of 35 fucking pyramids that are buried, that are emitting a frequency Like they're all in a row and all this fucking crazy shit. And they're the oldest pyramids ever discovered. They figure at least 50,000 years old.
Crazy.
50,000 fucking years old.
I know that.
And then Russia goes in, but they don't really go past that. Like if they wanted to fucking take Ukraine back, they could get nuts and fucking take Ukraine back. I mean, it's fucking Putin. He can do whatever the fuck he wants, apparently. Yeah. Right? So, I mean, I don't know.
I have not. I'll check it out though, man. I'm all down with all that.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. They're emitting they're all along the coastline of Crimea, which is really nuts. And apparently they're just sitting there, they're emitting some wild frequencies and stuff.
That's cool. I'm down with that.
It's totally cool. It's fucked up stuff, man. And they have all these pyramids in China.
Yeah, there's pyramids everywhere, man.
They're all on like ley lines and stuff. It's so fucking weird, man.
Well, because Earth was different, man. Earth was like a living thing with like energy all around it, and now it's sort of like a hijacked sort of dead planet.
Yeah.
That's just like...
So do you think we're going to like Terminator 3? Is that what's going to happen?
No, man, I
like
think...
fucking Rise of the Machines?
I think, man, that it's just... Yeah, I think that there's no sort of like...
Skynet?
That's already here. Like, people need to understand that like the internet is like the framework for being able to track you always. Like... That's why they gave it to you. I mean, they give you all the perks so you can do whatever you want. You can look at like a bunch of fake shit, or you can find whatever you want. But the reason it solely exists is so there was a network, so that one day, instead of having an actual chip in your hand, you just had a cell phone in your hand, which they just programmed you to love. Right? Instead of being afraid of it, you love it. Like, people desperately love their phones now. And
now it's a total pain in the ass, so they're going to be like, just get the chip, man. It's so much. You don't have to have keys. You don't have to have fucking ID.
No, we don't even have
that cop comes up, you're just like, woo, woo, fuck.
We don't even have to go that far. Like, we just are implementing that in our cell phone. Like, I think the scariest thing ever is of course, them putting it in your hand, but that comes with a lot of backlash. Instead, if you give them this fancy new gadget, which appears to be like the latest technology, they're going to love it. Like, it's way better that you love.
I think he's right too, though. Like, they will sell you on that it's just more convenient, and then people will want to do it as opposed to being afraid of it happening to them.
Yeah,
like you'll want to. I don't want to have to carry shit around in my pockets anymore. Like you said,
I can just dress in a Star Trek.
I hate sitting on my wallet. I hate it. It's almost enough there. You know,
go to the store.
Don't seem to be like going in that way though. Like, I'm sure if we wanted it in our bodies, then we would have already been there. I think they let us sort of dictate what is going to happen to us. Like, we don't. That's why we don't have virtual reality things, because not everyone is totally comfortable closing themselves off. We have just good enough. I got fucking 6 or 7 screens that feed me a bunch of lies or truth, and that's good enough. Like, they don't need to push it. They don't need to push it on us. They need us to just accept it. So.
Yeah,
it's already here. Like, the one money system, it's already a thing. Anywhere, everywhere has money. That's my money is then traded at a value at someone else's money. That is a one money system. You don't have to make it the whatever New World Order dollar. It's just going to have to be exchanged at the value of anyone else's dollar. Yeah. Just like a cell phone tracks you wherever you go. Now it holds up to 2 years of you talking into it, which they will hold on to for forever. Like, it's already here.
Fucking weird. Like, who's sitting there beating off listening to...
Well, that's what...
Who's sitting there beating off watching people beating off? That's what I want to know.
Everyone, dude.
Like,
have you seen a webcam?
What guy?
Are you kidding me right now?
No, but it's like, why would they give a fuck to record everybody's everything, to record everything?
It's just about control, man. It's that ultimate form of control.
Well,
it's maybe not letting you have anything in your life is now dictated or owned by someone else. And it's not for you personally. Like, no, are they going after anyone as an individual? It's just to have that power, and that should let people know how crazy computing technology actually is, as opposed to, like, people think it's going to be a bunch of servers in a room. It's probably just like a little tiny holographic cube that contains like trillions upon trillions of gigabytes of data stored in energy, I'm telling you, man. Holographic energy, man.
God damn it. We need Q. Where the fuck's Q?
And if there was aliens, I would say this. They probably came here and we were like, well, no, we'll gladly kill ourselves off. And they were like, all right, peace. Like there's no aliens coming to save us at any point. We obviously have resolved to like murdering ourselves for invisible money, and they would have left. They probably came here when we dropped nuclear bombs, because that would have been the greatest key marker in anything. Because if people were dropping nuclear bombs out in space, we would be like, oh, there's a planet obviously with like some crazy amount of energy, right?
Well, I was going to mention that earlier when you were talking that when the bomb was dropped, there was like the massive amount of UFO sightings. Like there was just like so many, because the whole universe was just like, okay, what they really did it.
They did that. Yeah, exactly. And most likely that's why abductions started so frequently, because they wanted to know about what was happening to the planet. Because like we've dropped 2,000 plus nuclear bombs on this planet.
That's
like
fucked.
and some of them are huge. Like the biggest bomb ever dropped is called Delta Prime by America, and it's supposed to be a 5 megaton bomb, but they build it incorrectly because of the time. No one knows what they're doing. They're just making things, and they build a 50 megaton hydrogen bomb that goes off on land in Bikini Atoll, which is now a place you cannot go to at all. And then it gets followed up by Russia right away with another 50 megaton bomb, but they're talking about making 1,000 megaton bombs and shit like that. And then somebody drops 100 megaton. This is the last open air nuclear bomb drop. It's called Bomb X, and no one takes credit for it. And it's a 100 megaton bomb dropped in the upper atmosphere, and that's what most likely is responsible for destroying weather and destroying absolutely everything. And
they did that in the atmosphere,
dude. There's a point where America was
like
dropping
way up.
Yeah. And what the problem is, like, what they were trying to do is, like, nuclear bombs, it's not the nuclear radiation that is the problem, because that goes out in sort of a spiral into space, but it's the heat. It's like we've dropped, like hundreds of millions of degrees of heat inside our atmosphere. And it's not the radiation. The radiation goes out into space, and that sort of destroys the ionosphere and the ozone layer, and why we sort of have to maintain an artificial weather system constantly around the Earth, because we fucking bombed it to death. We bombed the planet to death, and that's the last thing they ever talk about. An environmental thing, it's always, it's your car or your hairspray. It's not the 2,000
cows farting.
Yeah, it's cows farting, exactly.
It's not the 5 billion Chinese coal plants.
Well, see, that's how China fights back, is by polluting. Like, America controls the weather, China fights back by polluting, because no one dictates what America does at all. Like, America has the technology, and so America fights back by just fucking polluting. They're just like, fuck you, we'll just destroy the rest of the planet. If you're gonna murder us, we'll murder you at the exact same time.
Yeah, you're downwind, motherfucker.
Yeah, exactly.
Fuck LA.
Exactly. And that's where we're kind of at, and so that's why the polish is so great now. That's why everyone's just like, have a fucking party.
What the fuck is gonna happen here, man? What's it gonna happen?
Well, I don't know.
What's the head? What's
I imagine one day they just turn off the weather machine for like 2 weeks, and we all fry in plus 200 degree weather.
That's fucked up.
Die.
You really believe that, eh?
100%.
That every country in the world is, or what, like. Every country in the world is controlling weather.
Well, and it's not even like
weaponizing testing and all this stuff.
I think it's even beyond that. It became first weather manipulation, where they were like cloud seeding, right? Cloud seeding, where they were trying to make clouds rain or not, which is weather modification. As much as people say that
right.
isn't dictating what a cloud does.
It's proven that the Americans did that in Vietnam.
Yeah,
that's a
totally,
fact.
Yeah, exactly.
Totally,
flooded
you can
people
research
for
it.
weeks, and you can even see in Canada it didn't start happening until 2006 or so. But now, like, we are constantly under forecast. We'll get maybe 2 or 3 hours of a nice day, and then it's forecast for the rest of the time. And it's only because there is no more natural layer left to the environment. Like, we totally ruined it. We put trillions of degrees of heat into the atmosphere, which totally destroyed the hydrological cycle. Water began evaporating too fast, which began putting too much moisture into the air. And then we started building nuclear power plants and adding way more moisture into the air than that was necessary. So then it started raining in all different parts of the world or whatever.
Right.
And so eventually it came to the point of where we had to understand how to control it. And it's not something that hasn't been talked about or done. Like, there's even a professor in the UFC whose job it is to design how we're going to sort of create solar shields. His idea is, of course, to put sulfuric acid into the sky, which would just
I love those ones. Let's dump iron shavings in the ocean.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And it all stems from the end of World War II because America...
Not enough iron in the ocean, is there?
Well, and I think the acidity in the ocean comes way more from the plastic that's constantly being degraded because there's like 72 million tons of plastic floating around the ocean at all time. You know, it's way more than... It's way worse than everyone possibly thinks. Like, no one thinks about how much garbage we throw out. We never talk about waste. We only talk about two things: how much greenhouse gases exist, and that doesn't heat up the environment. That just ruins your air quality. That's one day you're gonna have to just breathe fucking Pepsi air because there's gonna be no more fucking air, right? And soon there's gonna be no more water, and all we'll have is soda pop and poison water.
Yes, girl.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, the great garbage island collapse of 2553. Have you seen Idiocracy?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Have you seen that movie?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm out.
Yeah. Ow, my balls.
I don't know.
Electrolytes,
It's what plants want.
It's what
It's like the
plants
spring
want.
Gatorade.
Dude, you want to put toilet water on the crops?
Yeah, well, even that, man, to think that we sort of, like, leave our biological waste in perfectly clean water when people... Not perfectly clean, not that I would drink it, but people don't even have fucking water, you know what I mean? There's no thinking to anything anymore. It's just about the programming. And make sure you fucking watch the same shitty fucking songs on TV. Make sure you watch TV at this exact time, you know? Make sure you never, ever think about doing anything ever.
That's why the Grammys suck and the Oscars suck. It's just like... I mean, the Grammys, it was funny. I was listening to Ari Shaffir's podcast, but it was like when the Grammys came out, and he was talking about a comedy album, but he was like, what the fuck, man? Like your shitty awards, like, you're not listening. You're not listening. Like, you gave fucking this person, you know, like, who if I won the award, I wouldn't even give a fuck because you just looked up who was the most popular person, gave them a fucking award.
Well, and the Oscars are just like a giant circle jerk. They're just all like, no, you're the best.
Well, that's what I mean. They're up there doing that to just piss everybody off. So there's this, like, constant, like, pissed off. Yeah. I mean, everybody knows, like, it's why people fucking hate Facebook so much.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, I'm so sick of seeing all this negative shit. Like, there's just people that want to spew out negativity constantly.
Trolling, man.
Well, but it's fucked up because... I mean, I think these people are starting to look like fucking trolls.
Yeah.
Like, if you spew out that much fucking negative energy, your face is going to start looking weird.
Yeah. I find all the people that make those posts are the people that that do that. The people that are like, why is everyone bitching on Facebook all the time? They're the only they live their lives on Facebook. I'm
sick of seeing all these statuses about
this is one of them. Yeah, like I just constantly, like, I'm only on it enough. I'm really on there as like a promo basis. I'm promoting JBo shit or a show that we have. Like, that's all I do. I don't really care. I look at it while I'm taking a shit. I scroll through it, so I got that time on my phone while I'm there. So I'll look at it, but I don't really, like, I like other people's things maybe sometimes, but I don't just go like, hey, what's this dumb fucking thing that happened yesterday?
It's fucking hilarious, man. Like,
I mean, I was into that blue dress because the first time I saw it was blue and black. The next time I saw it was white and brown. I was all fucked up about it.
Photoshop.
Nah, man.
I still that one went right over my head.
It was the same one. Anyway, I didn't want to bring.
I'm glad I didn't fucking pay attention that week.
But anyway,
the blue dress thing, I don't even know. I can't comment on it at all intelligently. Not that anybody else could, but I find Facebook just changed the algorithm to where these motherfuckers get, like, upvoted. You know what I mean? It's like all the negativity is like what's in your feed, where it used to be, oh, I have these friends and this is what they're posting. Now, I don't see, when you post something, I see it fucking 2 days later.
Yeah.
But I see 20 people whine about their fucking shit life. Like, fine, I don't care. I go through, I'm like, it's like Jerry Springer. Fuck, you're like, you're like, oh, fuck, look, they have 3 trailers in a triangle and they hate their wives? Wow. You know, this is the South. But... like, it becomes a spectacle like that, but it seems like they've really focused it down to negativity. They're like they're controlling the feed on Facebook all of a sudden, where it's like, all the stuff that when people, like, they can tell if somebody hovers over it, if somebody likes it, if somebody whatever shares it, comments on it, blah blah.
Yeah.
If people are commenting on all this negative shit, it's like, oh, boom, it's at the top of everybody's feed. When it's like, before it was like, I put Calgary Metalfest won, and it was like 1,200 people like this in a fucking hour and a half, because the people that were supposed to see it saw it, and they were like, wow, this is amazing.
Now, if you have any kind of business page, you gotta pay.
You gotta pay.
You have to pay.
Like, I have 300 people going. We announced on Monday, which was yesterday, right? And like, that's pretty cool.
That's good.
And they say that there's almost 5,000 people that were reached.
Yeah, that's the other thing too. Is like, what does that mean? What is the?
Yeah, so it's like,
it should have probably showed up in their feed.
So I wonder if they know how many it didn't reach.
Yeah.
Do you know? I wonder if it's.
I find it a double-edged sword. Like I kind of like with the JBo thing, with the business thing. I've been sort of loving Facebook advertising, but at the same time, I hate how they limit it on your page. Like it used to be when I had my personal page. If I share something on it, everyone in my friends list just sees it. It just comes up in order as it probably should. Yeah. But if you have a business page or a band page, it used to do that.
Yeah,
it used to show up like you were a person, but then now it doesn't. And so there's a shitty side to it and an awesome side to it. Like the one is like they want your money. So now what happens is if you put a post up,
they're monetizing,
and you don't pay, like you don't boost.
I know.
Post.
That's you'll see that ad right away.
Yeah,
like,
boost your post.
You made it's doing 95% better than any post you put
So
up.
if you don't do it, like nobody sees it. No, it just goes dead. But like, if you pay a little, like I find just like I'll put a thing up, especially for like my JBo stuff now. If it's a normal thing I painted, I don't care that much. I just put it up. But if I have a big thing like a video or something like that, I want it to be seen.
Yeah.
I'll just throw like, I don't know, like $10 on it or something like that.
Yeah.
And it is just like, it goes from like, 20 people liking it and 2 people commenting to like 100 people commenting and 1,000 likes. So it's like, it sucks because they're making you need to do it. But when you do it, like the reward is great. And for like a business standpoint, it is worth it. But you got to think,
from a business standpoint, they want me to give them $1,500 a month. How does that sound?
What do you mean?
Because I can either do what you do, where it's like, set your budget.
Yeah, sure.
$2 a day. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But then it, gets out to 10,000 people that are fake.
No.
Or I can fucking, and then your likes go up, and you're like, oh,
every time
Ting Tao from Korea. Oh, sweet.
Like, I'll scroll.
But just hold on.
Okay.
Or you can go into an advertising partnership with Facebook for $1,500 a month, where you get the old Facebook. Like whenever Nate fucking Reno, Getting Hard Nate's Backyard, Calgary Metalfest, whenever all my fucking alter egos post anything, they're like, push this motherfucker.
Yeah.
So like that is where I would agree with you, where it's like, oh, okay, now they're gonna push me.
Yeah.
As opposed to me just posting and I was pushing myself.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I mean, it's like I gotta give you $1,500.
But the thing is, when I'm like boosting those posts, they're not fake likes. They're showing up.
No, for sure.
When I scroll through my thing and you see suggested posts, and I literally see Nate Bourgeau likes Hello Moth. I'm just using an example because I saw it. That's a real band. That's local.
Giving them $5 a month to be seen.
Nothing. Right? Yeah. Right.
That's what they want. They want the $5 a month.
Dude, but you imagine that there's exactly. Of course, man. It's so worth it. Like the
I better start getting my credit card out because these motherfuckers are railroading me right now.
Yeah.
That's fucking seriously what's going on.
Yeah. No, and I do get it, but also
they did it last year, big time.
Yeah.
They fucking railroaded me into the ground last year. That changed from last year to the year before. At Metalfest 2, it was still like, it helps when you got Skeleton Witch behind you, fucking, and all these rad bands that came.
Yeah.
And, of course.
Well, they probably saw, like, the potential of money you could have made, so they didn't let you have it for cheap.
And then they're like, boost your post. Like, all this stuff starts happening. I'm not doing it. And they're like, oh, yeah, no problem.
I do find, like...
That is real. That's a real algorithm that some fucking asshole made.
Yeah, I think the first time that I ever did an advertisement campaign on Facebook for JBo Airbrush, the results were so much better than I think I did $100 for like 1 month, and I got like 300 likes, and I was like, damn, that's like 3 likes per $1. That's great. And those were real people in Calgary or Alberta or whatever I set my campaign for. Real ones, like a lot of them clients asking me about jobs.
Focus it.
And now I'm like, oh,
choose your own adventure.
Now I'm like, oh shit, it's awesome, right? So I do it again the next time. It's like, oh, it's like 100 less. Then you check,
oh, give us a little more.
Yeah,
it's like cocaine.
It is, yeah. If you ever did crack with that guy in that bathroom one time,
I'd really be able to tell you. With
that was
some missing
Mark Zuckerberg. That was who that was. Yeah.
I like it. Well, I mean, fuck. Whatever. They're capitalists. I get it.
Well,
I'm not a commie. But at the same time, it's like
I get it. Like I get it for business wise. Like for JBo, I get it way better than for bands because it's way harder to front.
When they went public, that's what it was. Yeah. When they went public, it was like, oh, now we got shareholders. I can't just run this like I want to.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, there's this Saudi fucking prince that wants his fucking money.
I like how it says that Facebook, it's free and it always will be, but then it's like costs you so much money if you want to be.
Yeah, that's right. It's any of those things that are free, like they're free, but they're so limited to the shit. Like eventually,
well, it's funny. Like
personally, we all will be playing. We all will be paying because like it'll be free to have your thing, but it's like, oh, but you can only post 10 pictures a month.
Yeah,
and people are gonna be like, well, fuck, man, I had this awesome party and I got like 12 sweet pictures.
Well, I was talking.
I take 10 selfies a day. How am I gonna live off that? So you're gonna pay just to get that little extra.
And not to regress back to a past podcast, but those guys that Dan Marshall and Doug Smother, they're like fucking, we started talking about transhumanism and shit, right? Yeah. And I was like, so do you want the chip? And they're like, fuck yeah, it's fucking awesome. Like, Doug, not so much, but Dan was like, yeah, it's technology, man. Like, fuck, we need this.
Yeah.
But
well, my cat
I was like, what happens when you fucking, when you get your iPhone 9 in a little fucking pack? Costs you fucking $10,000. You get in this little baggie and you crush it up and you fucking snort it, and then you have flu-like symptoms for 3 to 5 days, and then you're good.
Yeah,
you know, you want to make a phone call. You take your hand and you put it your left hand, thumb,
they don't make you do
like,
that. That's the dorkiest part.
You want to text somebody, fucking see it in your eyeball and shit, and fucking all this. You know, it's but. If you don't pay your fucking cable bill, you're gonna feel like shit. And if you don't,
you're gonna get a cold.
If you're late on your fucking taxes, your left nut is gonna hurt a lot.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? Like that to me, that's where I drew the line. I was like, listen, I don't want all these failed institutions inside of my body.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want the fucking banking system in my body. I don't want the government that can't even govern its own fucking laws inside my body, right?
Well, and I think that maybe, Nate, what you said is like, they won't, because too many people won't want that.
Yeah.
So
I think they're going that way, man. They're going that way.
You have it in your pocket anyway, but I think
they're doing it in Sweden in offices already. Sweden's so progressive, right?
That's little though. That's little scale. We're talking.
That's how it starts.
So don't say that. You're gonna make it happen.
No, it won't happen.
Don't.
Well, we also won't become. We also won't download our brains into computers and shit like that. None of that shit's never gonna happen.
You don't think so?
No, that's like.
What about the crystalline entity, man?
That's like. This is like perfect society shit. We're talking like.
If you're in fucking crystal territory with your computers, you can do whatever.
Yeah, but I mean, we're just not talking about the. Like it, like I get the Ray Kravitzel thing. I get it. I get the idea of wanting, but it's like we're not talking about what's going to happen, or we're just assuming that one day we're going to be able to like take our brains and put it into a computer, and they're like not the how many thousands of vegetables we're going to make of people doing this, you know, and that's what's going to happen. Maybe you won't even be able to. Like it's just an idea. Like,
well, that's the Matrix, right? We're all IFUs or IPUs, information processing units.
Yeah.
We're just laying this fucking hyperbaric fucking float tank that's like perfect, and we just grow into we become computers.
That's it. We're already there. Like
we are kind of there.
We're
the
at
that American or Canadian or Westerner is that.
That is that.
No wonder they hate us.
It doesn't have to. Yeah. Yeah. I would too. If my homeland became dirt, so somebody become a fat idiot, I'd be so fucking mad.
I know, right?
I'd be so mad.
I'd be so fucking mad too.
Especially
if you lived in Syria, you would be mad.
I'd be pissed.
I don't give a fuck who you are. If you lived in Syria, you would be fucking mad right now.
Yeah.
And you'd basically be like, yeah, they're infidels.
Yeah, I get it. Like, they came over and they're like, hey, we're going to give you all this stuff and we're going to give you part of the profit, and then they didn't do anything of that, and they turned your whole country into poison and went back and turned into fat idiots.
Man.
I'd be raging.
Like, no wonder these guys can just, oh my God, they're walking through and they're grabbing such great swaths of territory.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, and you know what they do? They're like, hey, Vice News, come out and watch this. There was a border here. We just removed it.
Yeah.
People can fucking move freely, so who's an asshole now?
Yeah.
People that haven't seen each other in 40 fucking years can see each other now. How about that? You know,
Those
and you're
imaginary
like,
lines, man.
holy fuck. I mean, I'm no whatever. Oh, fuck, we're going to get fucking droned now. This bus is going to get droned.
Yeah. It already probably is.
It better be. You better not kill my daughter, you motherfuckers. I'll get you somehow. I love you guys.
Well, this is what is way more important: actual human contact, as opposed to
That's why I started doing this podcast.
I was going to say, can we FaceTime next time? Because I really like my cats on my lap, and I'll do it on the toilet.
I swear to God, I started this podcast. I started listening to Rogan, and I was so Facebook had pissed me off so much, from sitting there looking at people's lives sucking.
Yeah,
it was like, this is fucked. There's no way this is how it's supposed to be. And then I don't know how I heard about, or my old boss, their painting guy, my buddy Rick White. He was in Sitting Idle, super awesome. He remember that band?
Yeah.
Remember that band? Yeah, he was my
Yeah.
boss for a while. He's the shit, dude. I think he suggested a podcast, and I started listening to Rogan, and I was sitting there going, "Fuck, man! Here's a guy. You'll look at Rogan, right? You're like, okay, he was fucking Joe Spitzarelli or whatever the fuck his name was in News Radio.
Yeah.
And then he was he's the UFC guy.
Yeah. And Fear Factor.
And he's the he was the Fear Factor guy, and then he's the UFC guy too, and he's trained in martial arts and all this stuff.
Stand-up comedian is his thing,
and the
though.
stand-up comedian since
That's what he is.
1988.
That's what he is,
which is
yeah.
super fucked up. That's what nobody realizes about Rogan is he's been a stand-up since 88.
It's because he's not very good at it, but
Oh shit!
his last thing's pretty good, but he gets ripped on.
Gangster.
You should-
Okay, well,
I kind of agree too.
Don't
man.
judge art. Don't judge art.
I really love Rogan, and then I watched stand up, and it was just like him yelling a lot. And I was like, fuck, dude,
depends
he's so
what year
cool,
you
man.
get him
Like,
in, man.
It's a bummer.
It
No, yeah,
depends
but
what
I'm
year
talking
you
literally
get
about
him in.
some stand.
It's just like
some of
Carlin.
these-
I heard fucking Ari Shaffir say that about Carlin. Oh, in the 2000s he sucked, in the 90s he sucked. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
He's fucking awesome. That's when he was doing those rants about marketing and all that shit. This guy's some hardcore comedian, and he's like, that fucking sucked. George Carlin sucked? Sorry. He was fucking awesome until he died.
Yeah.
You know, come on. Everybody's like, oh, Sam Kinison was so fucking amazing. Well, yeah, okay. And then he died. So, yeah, okay. There you go. You know, fine. You want to hold him up there? But my point was to hear somebody, in which I am not, well, maybe, I mean, I can comment on a few subjects. Not the same as Rogan. I'm a fat piece of shit that never works out, and I totally don't have my shit together. That was inspirational for me. I had a kale shake this morning.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was like, he's like, kale shakes are the best. Yeah, okay, cool. I'm gonna make a kale shake, and I'm gonna slowly get into not being a fat piece of
man.
shit.
I watched
but,
Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead, and I went on a juice diet. It was great.
Yeah, it worked. Yeah, awesome.
It was fucking
color,
awesome,
color
dude.
in his
Yeah,
face.
I actually wish I stuck with that because that shit was baller.
But to hear somebody have real conversations with other people, it seemed like after looking at all these fake conversations that are on the internet, to hear somebody have a real conversation with real people really fucking hit me.
Yeah.
It could have been fucking Andrew Dice Clay. It could have been fucking anybody. It could have been fucking Gallagher.
Yeah.
If he could have fucking nailed it like Rogan does, you know what I mean? It could be fucking anybody. So to hear people have real conversations in this world is a weird thing.
Yeah.
That's the only reason I started this podcast, is because I was like, I feel like people need to listen to actual people having real conversations with other real people. Yeah. Not just please hold.
Yeah.
Press 3 for English.
Yeah.
You know, fuck. It seems like that's all we talk to robots now. We
Yeah.
fucking
Well, and we
sit
don't
there.
really
It's like
talk
my
to each
shit's
other.
fucked. Who the fuck do I got to call in India to
Yeah.
fucking get my shit not fucked?
We love
That's all I did
texting
today.
each other way more than we love talking to each other. We love having text arguments, like
Oh,
way
those are the
more,
worst. Those
way
are
more.
so
Yeah.
divisive.
Yeah, well, because it takes way more to talk about it, because you can't just sit there and look up Google links and then write your rebuttal and then delete it and then write it again. Delete it. Like you gotta be able to talk on the
Well,
fly.
also the awkwardness of it. I remember one time I got a girl's phone number and I phoned her like an asshole. Like, don't phone someone. So I should have just texted her. 'cause
Oh, you fucking
it was
prick.
so awkward. And then she texted me back, sorry, that was so weird, blah, blah, blah. And it was like fine after, but
yeah.
thought she was, whatever.
Sorry, so weird when you tried to talk to me and
Yeah.
then I couldn't talk to you
For
because I'm
real.
retarded now.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, welcome. This is America. Oh, sorry, this is Canada too. Fuck. Western Canada.
Yeah, man.
That's why you gotta love Quebec, man. Hey, you know what? Us Westerners, I'm just saying we need to realize that Quebec is hard as fuck.
Quebec is hard as fuck.
To be French in a fucking predominantly English country is pretty fucking intense.
Yeah, but then they always get like let out of all those things. It always says like, but does not include Quebec. And I'm always like, why doesn't Quebec get included?
Contests.
You
Yeah,
know
they can never
why?
enter
Because
the
they have their own
contest.
culture. That's why.
Because they have their own model.
So they have
They have
their
their
own law?
they have their own police. They have fucking everything, man.
What?
Yes, they have a QPP, Quebec
got-
Provincial Police.
Western Lotto 6.
We don't have an APP. Remember they were talking about Alberta Provincial
Oh,
Police?
man.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
Well,
APP.
if Quebec gets a fucking QPP, Ontario's got to have a fucking OPP.
That'd be awesome.
Those guys are the biggest fucking assholes on Highway 1. Those fucking OPP dicks, man. if
Never
you're
ran
going
into 'em.
fucking 93,
You know,
if you're going 97, if you're going down a hill going 97, fucking what? Oh, you're not from here, are you? Yeah. You're going 97 and a 90. Yeah. I know, I've been in this province for 4 days. When does it end?
Well said.
You know? Yeah. All right. Well, we've degraded down to
Insulting other
insulting
provinces.
police forces.
Yeah.
Specifically named police forces. Well, hey, I mean, I don't know. I feel like I keep going. We shouldn't, though.
Is it like,
I
would
think-
anyone still be listening?
Yeah, that's what I'm sitting here going. I don't know. I think we've been doing a good job the whole time.
I think so.
I feel so.
I mean,
covered a lot of areas.
we've covered a lot of areas. There's obviously more. There's obviously more. We just barely got into lizard people.
Yeah.
We didn't even talk about fucking aliens at all. And all our
Like
sightings.
about aliens or about fucking aliens?
No, about fucking alien sightings that we've personally had.
Oh, I've had none. Just UFOs. Sadly.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we should just leave it there.
Yeah, well, there can always be a next time. Why are
Round
we
two.
gonna-
That's right.
Why are we gonna use it all up right now?
When you put out the next EPs, drop by again.
Yeah.
Oh,
Soon enough.
Oh, we didn't even talk about that. We're recording right now.
Oh, what the
Can we get
fuck?
back in it?
I gotta edit this into
Can we
the
get back
beginning
into
now.
the real part?
I gotta fucking, speaking of time travel, after the first
That's the
time
segue,
travel thing,
yeah.
I'm gonna
That's
copy
the
and
segue.
paste this right after. All right, anyways. Let's talk about the new.
Oh
new
yeah,
EP.
shit. Well, yeah, we're.
Is it
recording.
another 3-songer?
No, it's not an EP.
45 minutes long.
It's a 5-songer that's a full length. So there you
oh,
go.
gangster!
Yeah.
There it is.
So yeah, I did the drums in last one in the summertime.
Yeah.
And that was just because Sasha had their place at that time. They had their studio, and so we wanted to get the drums in before they lost the studio. And
They did lose the studio.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but I
Like
think
like
now
an
they just
extra place.
go to like one of those other places to just do drums. Like they just had
Yeah,
their
yeah,
place to do
yeah.
drums, and then guitarist he does it his place and whatever, right? So
Yeah, right, why
just
not?
while they still had that location, it was like, well, can you do it like next weekend? Or we had a set time, right? But he was still busy doing Divinity and doing other.
Yeah.
He had other projects lined up, so
Yeah.
we weren't actually necessarily up yet. But let's get the drums done while we're prepared and ready. So
And got the room.
yeah, and we did the drums, and then it sat on it for a while, right? And then we've been doing. So when did you start doing guitars?
I don't really remember, but they're all sort of everything's sort of done. All we have left to do now is the leads and the audio clips. So on Saturday, Pat and I are going to go finish up the leads, and then Sash's going to be a little breakdown of the songs, and we're going to start on the audio clips, and then be done maybe around summertime or something.
Summertime, probably summer release.
Fuck yeah. Well, it's the reason it takes so long too. Money, right? Fuck. I mean, it's fucky, man.
Yeah.
But money I'll gladly spend, man. Like
no. I mean, it just takes time to acquire.
Yeah, exactly.
For everybody, right? For everybody to.
Yeah.
So to do it over a long time, like you guys are doing, is fucking cool.
Yeah, it sort of worked out best, and for part of that too, Sasha was doing it sort of on the side while he was working. So it's like instead of just booking 2 weeks and finishing with a strict deadline, it was like just come in and do a few hours in the evening. Like my part of it, the drum part of it, was that it was literally a weekend. We just did it, you know.
Right.
But for the guitars that come in, they do what they do in that evening span, and then next day you're in there mostly every day for that while there, instead of doing full on days, because that's just how it was working.
You don't want to
out.
burn yourself either. Like these aren't just like 4-chord songs. It's like
and just from a recording perspective too, like if you have a big room for drums, that's great. Mm-hmm. That's what everybody needs to have. That's why everybody's wondering. It's like, oh, digital music killed fucking recording. No. Small basements killed fucking recordings. It's like the big fucking rooms that all these assholes could pay for back in the day. That's what you were paying for. It was this big, crazy room with fucking cedar everywhere. Right. That was just unreal.
Yeah. Well, now you really only need that for the drum part of it.
You walk in there, you're like, Jesus, we're doing drums here. Cool. So that sounds like what Sasha's doing, is like get the crazy big drum sounds, and then you don't need such a big spot for bass and guitar.
No, and he's got such good equipment too. Like he's got.
I know that's
too, and he's got such sweet equipment.
Every time, that's it, man. That's it. That's the difference between guys like Sasha blows me away because he has that equipment.
Yeah.
It's like, and then Hollywood blows Sasha away because they have crazy equipment.
Yeah.
Like if Sasha had the Hollywood shit,
I can only imagine.
It's fucking over.
Yeah.
Like everybody, these guys need to just retire and die. Fuck.
Yeah.
Just get out of the way and give us fucking Hollywood already.
Yeah, well, I'm like amazed by how good a production he gets out of just like a computer, man. I'm like, it sounds like.
But it's those key little things that he's got some preamps that are nuts. He's got a rack of craziness.
Yeah.
Like any good producer should have a rack of craziness.
Yeah.
Well, and I even
unfortunately
found,
they're like $50,000.
I found it interesting that he like doing all the sort of guitars first and reamping later. Like that was huge to me, that I didn't really understand. It's like, remember when we went in with Verbal D in Sunday Sound, it was like literally like miking the amp and recording it as he played it and editing the last part of the stage after the mic has gotten there, right? Where he's recording the performance more so digitally, and then now you've done all your edits beforehand and have a perfect performance of the whole song.
Right.
Now you go
when
to
you're hearing it back though, he's running it through some digital thing, so it sounds rad.
Yeah.
But what I mean is
when you're laying it down.
When you're laying it down, so it sounds rad. It's effects.
Through craziness.
Like then you go to the expensive place that has that awesome room and run as if you had played one massively perfect take through like the greatest gear you could imagine. So I think that it becomes possible for the guy to do his basement recording and then just reamp in that expensive studio for like one day and have like a really amazing sound recording for like such an amazing price.
Yeah, no, totally. Fucking A.
Brilliant.
Yeah, it's awesome. Fuck, Sasha's good.
Yeah, he's the man.
Everything he does is sick.
Yeah, totally.
He's good about. I want to actually. I think the next one we should just go to him so I don't have to do anything.
Yeah, just do it.
You know, like, just to get hammered by some other guy, because I think I'm hard on myself, but I'm not. I was listening to some. Anyways, I'll probably whatever. Doesn't matter. But to get hammered on by somebody for me would be neat, because I've always been the guy who's like, come on, fuck. I've always been that guy, so it's like. To have somebody else do it would be fucking neat.
Yeah.
I should get him in the bus here. We'll redo my tracks. Just scowling at me like, come on, Nate. Get your shit together.
Well, he would be a good one. I mean, he could promo all his shit and have him in here for sure, I think.
Oh, yeah. No, he's on the list.
Their album coming up.
Yeah, right.
The Every Hour Kills?
Fuck yeah, yeah. No, they're on the list for sure.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's all just
Get
a
him
matter
and,
of
him and
scheduling.
Rob Shawcross or something. His drummer.
Oh yeah. Maybe the old Brent Stutzky. He's got some. Do you know him very well?
No.
He's got some great stories. He goes way back.
Yeah.
Do you know him?
Only not really. Like we've only
Do
the
you
last few times
remember-
we met him.
Breach of Trust.
No.
Oh, okay.
Is that another band that he was in before?
Yeah. They were from. They started as a native only band, and then Brent came in after they fired some guys.
Clearly not native guy.
But they were signed and all this, like in like 01 they were signed.
Oh, sweet.
In 2000 they were signed. He was in that band. And I'm sure a bunch of other fucking super rad bands I don't know about. But
Yeah.
I think he was in like Dark Minion too.
Oh yeah, that sounds familiar.
That's
definitely.
going way back. Those guys were like 97, I think, and they're doing like black metal, like black death metal
That's sweet.
in Calgary. And then Rev Kill too. He was around back then.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I think Don might have been in Dark Minion. No, he was in Thorazine.
Thorazine, huh? I know Thorazine.
That was that
That's
time.
like when we were.
Now we're
that's
going
when I
back
was
in time.
Big Bads, man. We were bands like that, or we played with Thorazine and stuff like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
You played with Thorazine.
Dude, I've been playing bands since I was 15.
Oh, fuck. I'm throwing this story in. Okay. Fucking. My wife will remember this. It had to be 02 because it was when I just first met my wife. I think we had gone on one date. So it would have been around April. Oh, yeah. This story is so cute.
Oh,
Watch
it's
how
gonna
cute
take a
this story
tragic
gets.
turn.
We're going everywhere, man.
So Wes calls me and he's like, "Oh, this fucking Season Macabre show's going on down at T.A. Vern's."
T.A. Burns.
I'm like, he's like, "Meet me down there." I'm like, "Oh yeah." And then I called her up and I was like, "You should meet me down here where I'm meeting Wes and mutual friends and all this stuff." And I show up and like basically that's Broken City now. So like where Broken City has their stage now, they had that all taped off, but they didn't have a stage built. It was like just against the wall. It was like a big bay. So it was like they had this whole fucking crazy area taped off, like with fucking poly and shit, tarp.
Yeah.
And then there was upside down crosses that were like 4 feet tall with 10 penny nails in them. And so I show him like, "Oh yeah, crazy." And this whole show was like this fucking crazy fucking dude, I think his name was Matt, made this movie that called Season Macabre that was super fucked. Like super fucked. Like he got a cadaver and they were jerking off on it. I remember seeing that.
What?
And because they were showing parts of the movie in between, and then there was all these like crazy, like crusty, grindy. Then like Thorazine played, and fucking Operation Winter Mist played,
Operation Winter
like
Mist,
all
yeah.
and Plague,
Oh yeah.
like all these like bands from the and Buddy from was in Plague. I'm pretty sure that made this movie. So I don't know any of this is happening yet. I show up to the show, see that, meet her, and then the show starts. I'm pretty sure it was Plague that was playing, and there was like a crazy fucking mosh pit going, like a super nuts early 2000s mosh pit. And then I'm like, holy fuck, tits. And I see titties. And then this dude takes like a full 5-gallon, like a 3/4 full 5-gallon full of real blood, and throws it right on her fucking chest. And this gore fest just blows up. Like, they had all these real guts and shit, and they were throwing fucking guts around T.A. Vern's. Like, it was fucked up. And then as soon as that started, she's like, I think I'm gonna go now. You know, like, I'm leaving. You know, I'm like, yeah, cool. You should go. You know, like, fuck, get the fuck out of here. What the fuck is going on? Like, you know, you're like, oh, metal's not that bad. And then
Yeah, right. I've definitely taken not metal girls to a metal show before. That was like super tame, and they're like, oh my god. But imagine you brought them to that. Yeah,
Guts,
exactly.
blood.
No, it just took a lot of restraint, not
to call someone. I was so offended.
Yeah, like if any animal
I can deal
PETA
with
would
the
have walked in
music,
there, like
washing, fine, but when guts
and they
are
had real.
flying and pig's blood is being spewed everywhere,
There's
and there's
dysentery going on.
there's just the skin.
Yeah, they had the
face
pig masks, like real pig skin faces on the 10
hanging
penny
on
nails.
these 10 and they're shoving their face in it. I was like, I don't know if I need to call animal activists or the police or I was just like, I need to go. This is so morally wrong for me. I'm like, I can deal with the music, but this, you've gone too far. So
So she leaves. I go up, like, kind of to the edge of the mosh pit, and this piece of fucking liver like bounces off my right shoulder. And it wasn't even the edge of the mosh pit. It was like the edge was there, and I was like out the outer ring of the edge of the mosh pit, and the liver hit me, and I was like, fuck, man, I'm gonna go stand at the back of the room now.
Just bought this shirt.
Yeah, maybe. And then I go to the can, and there's this dude. Like, I remember seeing him. He was grabbing the pig's faces and putting his face in it, and like fucking motorboating that shit. And then he was just like, it was fucked. And then I saw this guy in the bathroom. He's just covered in blood from fucking head to toe. And he's like, yo, what's up? Like, you know, like, first of all, we're in the bathroom. I just had a piss. I haven't washed my hands yet. But still, beyond that,
you're dirty. You're dirtier than my hand right now.
And he literally gave me the, like, whoa, what the fuck? And I'm like, are you serious, man?
Fuck.
Like, you're covered in fucking real blood, man. Like, you're gonna have ringworm after this. You're covered in room temperature pig's blood. Like, fuck. Oh, what you're not hardcore. Like, you're like, yeah, okay.
This isn't getting
no,
hard.
I'm not.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
No, I'm not.
Well, is that did we make a mark? Is that the longest one?
There we go. That's the longest one now.
Oh yeah,
that's the longest one now.
Oh, I would have.
Yeah.
Oh my god, we need a round. Anyways, shit. Thanks for getting hard in Nate's backyard. This is the hardest that it's been gotten.
Yeah.
Nice.
We'll see if I put all of this up.
Yeah. I think those Viagra's. That's how I stayed hard this whole time.
Oh yeah. Thank fuck.
Couldn't have done it naturally. Not Nate good to go Bourgeot
That's
over
right.
here. He doesn't need those.
thanks
Fucking
for
right.
spending your birthday with us.
Yeah, it's my
happy
birthday. Did
birthday.
we say that?
Happy
Yeah, we
birthday,
said it.
Jordan.
I think I alluded to it
Yeah,
briefly
you did, yeah.
when we weren't
Yeah.
blackout drunk. Speaking of which, grab a round for everybody, babe. Thank you.
So that means we're still going then, right? I want to make.
No.
I want to make a record. I want to make
Oh
a
my
record.
god,
We'll
the
probably-
timeline thing.
Let's save it because
Oh yeah.
That other part back in.
Yeah, the
it?
timeline thing fucks me up.
we'll get back to
It's
it.
too crazy with the timelines. I always thought that was a cop out in Star Trek. I was like, fuck, you know. They're not the timeline. They just can't write anymore. They ran out of ideas. Thank you for getting hard in Nate's backyard, Bourgeois.
No problem.
Yeah, brother.
brother Bourgeot doing it up.
Brothers Bourgeot.
Come back anytime.
Yeah.
We will. Let's do it again.
Check all the links. Check everybody out. Don't be an asshole. Do stuff.
Yeah.
Thanks for getting hard in Nate's backyard, everybody.
Get the fuck off of our boat!